opening kickoff to the final play.
Touchdown!
Your home of the pass.
Yes.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots, Bruins, and Celtics were all off yesterday, so we start with baseball and the top free agent on the board. Last night, Juan Soto reportedly agreed on a record 15-year, $765 million contract with the New York Mets. It has an opt-out after 5 seasons. It's the largest contract in professional sports history. The Red Sox are one of the finalists for Soto, but according to Mass Live, came in at about 15 years and $700 million. Patriots players will be back from their bye week this morning. The next game is on Sunday afternoon in Arizona. The Cardinals lost at home yesterday 30-18 to Seattle to fall to 6-7 on the season. The Bruins open up a 5-game road trip in Winnipeg tomorrow night. The Celtics are off until Thursday night when they play Detroit at TD Garden. In college football news, Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, and Arizona State have the first-round byes in the first-ever 12-team playoff bracket. Also, SMU made the field. Alabama did not. Boston College finished at 7-5 on the season. They'll play 6-6 Nebraska in the Pinstripe Bowl on December 28th at Yankee Stadium. Also, it'll be Connecticut against North Carolina in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl on the 28th as well. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Enjoy the game with the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Please drink responsibly. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Fred, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Open him up with a football.
98.5 The Hub. Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Hi, I'm Isaac. Hey there. Say my name.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Hey there.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi, I'm Isaac.
Isaac, why haven't you been in touch with me? It's just like love him and leave him, love him and leave him.
Say my name.
Love him in a mentor-mentee kind of way. There's different kinds of love. But, I mean, Isaac, I devoted so much time to you. And now you just took my knowledge and you ran back to Hofstra to your grandmother's house to live and to matriculate on campus. And now it's over for me.
What year is Isaac at Hofstra?
1 million.
Okay.
He's the levels you don't even know about.
Got it.
We're in the Town Fair Tire Studios. We're brought to you.
Double doctorate.
He's collecting degrees.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting a lot of honorary degrees now too. Once he did his dissertation and he took his PhD, multiple PhDs, then they just started piling on the honorary degrees.
He's collecting degrees, and let's just say this is Arizona in the summer, not Fargo, North Dakota in the winter. I mean, he's got lots of degrees. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And you can always watch us live on YouTube. And you can watch the station, clips from the station and everything else. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube and subscribe. We were sent an article that it is the future of that more people listen to podcasts on YouTube than anything else, which is weird because that means that you would think that you would watch it on YouTube because of the video of it, and that's a long time. That's a long time to be watching videos.
I think so.
It's like watching The Godfather 2 7 times a day. It's a long time. But maybe people just listen to it in the car via the YouTube.
Yeah, you can do that.
You can do whatever you want. You have the time of your life. 617-779-0985. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Our own Adam 12 was very, very ill. And I woke up this morning with my throat hurting, and that's why I just thought of you being ill.
Oh.
Is that my throat is not throat like I'm losing my voice hurt.
Like post-nasal drip?
Yeah, post-nasal
Yeah,
drip.
you might have what
acid.
I had. That's how it started for me.
Oh, you son
Same
of a
with me,
bitch.
too.
Oh, what if Adam got us all sick?
Wallach had it over the weekend.
Yep.
You know what, though?
You caught it from Adam.
No.
Probably.
No, who I caught it from. Who do we have in studio
Probably
with Bird last week?
some homeless guy that you were eating brunch with at the church.
Yeah, that was good.
I saw
Tyler
you-
Milliken.
Oh,
He had it, too. I think he gave it to all of us. And I think this is the cosmic comeuppance for him is that Juan Soto signed with the Mets and not with the Red Sox. Punishment for getting us all sick.
Do you think now Tyler Milliken sat in here, and I didn't want to say it in front of him because it would have been rude, and there's no way he's awake. But Tyler Milliken said that people thought he looked like my child. Now there's several problems with that. The age of the fella. I mean, how old is Tyler Milliken?
27, 26.
Okay.
Yeah,
26.
You could
Ryan
be.
is saying.
Yeah, you could be his dad.
Yeah, if I was irresponsible as a youngster,
Yeah.
I would have conceived him when I was 22. And that would have been not something that I would have done. But what I think is interesting is this notion that 26, 27 is somehow very, very young. It is in some ways, obviously, but in other ways it's not. Think about what you guys were doing when you're 26 or 27. I had a morning show in Atlanta. I owned a home.
I was doing middays at BCN.
Yeah, like I was doing what I do now when I was 26 or 27.
Real job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the this notion. that
Things have
it's like-
changed a lot, though, in the last. I mean, what we were that's going back for guys like us 20 years.
Yeah, and I'm not one of these people that thinks that our generation is any better than any generation, but there is this sort of like eternal coddling that seems to have gone on with that. Like they're like maybe it's for the best, but like people are still getting started when they're like 27, 28 years old. Like
Sure, I think that's part of it, but I think another part of it too is just you can't it's real difficult to live off one job these days when you're in your mid-20s.
Oh, get out of here, hippie. I mean, listen. I'm talking about responsibility. I'm talking about Well, it's not a rebut. It is a good rebuttal. It's you're turning it into the system is stacked against people. Tyler Milliken
I'm saying that's part of it.
Tyler is against Tyler Milliken?
No.
Who has a college degree?
No.
Let's play everything that you that's on the table. He's a white male with a college degree from a family with plenty of money.
Kilometers.
So he shouldn't be able to have a job that he can work. Okay. I know people that are 30 that didn't go to college that have jobs that are well into the six figures because they worked very hard. They worked hard and they got up. I actually do. I know girls. I do know girls.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that it's not as easy as it was 20 years ago.
I don't know how much it wasn't easy 20 years ago. It wasn't easy to get into radio and have a job that supported yourself in radio. It was impossible 20 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but I think it's
Adam,
more difficult now because there's fewer jobs, Fred.
Oh, you're talking about in radio in general.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just meant just in life. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no one's forcing it. Well, he's got a Section 10 podcast.
It's true.
But the other part of it is, and everyone can be honest, do I look like Tyler Milliken?
I don't.
Yes.
No, if you're gonna say it, you say it. Don't have
I don't see
your
a resemblance.
Don't have your
No.
voice box say it.
Yes.
I'm not playing those clips. That's Hardy.
No, I know that. I'm aware of that.
The answer is no. You do not look like Tyler Milliken.
Thank you.
Yes.
I
never
I
thought
like
that.
John and Adam. I don't like that computer. That's for sure.
No.
He said that right to my face. And then
I'm just
you
not
can't-
very good with the different measurements.
Who is that?
That's Milliken.
That's Milliken describing kilometers. He didn't
Yes.
understand what a 5K was, so
No,
Kilometers.
yeah.
I thought he was good on the show, and I appreciated him coming
Yeah.
on.
I'm
so I,
the streets. I grew up in Brockton.
and I didn't.
Did he go to that high school?
See, hard scrabble.
he
That's what I'm
did.
saying.
With
He had a hard time.
3,500 kids? That's where he went?
I think he did.
Hard
All right.
time coming up, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Deck stacked against
I'm
him.
from the streets. I grew up in Brockton.
I was too harsh on you, Adam. I didn't know you were talking about radio. I thought you were talking about just in general that you couldn't get a
Let me,
Yeah.
let me
good
tell you,
job.
though. I mean, like, so we probably don't have a lot of friends who did, like, the married, had kids, straight out of college thing. I have a couple of friends from college who did that. But for the most part, people
Yeah.
live for a few years.
Yes.
You know,
I know one couple that did
enjoyed their
that. Yes.
20s, had sex with multiple people.
I know people that married people that they knew in high school, but they didn't. Right, but they didn't marry them.
Yeah.
They didn't marry them or stay. They weren't like monogamous with them until they got married. Like they were. Right, I understand what you're saying.
But different parts of the country, we're getting all the Christmas cards now from my. What the hell is that?
I don't know where that's coming from.
That's
Someone's phone, maybe? Or is
no, that's
Not me.
TV?
I
You really can't figure out where it's coming from. I
It's a- no idea
I killed your news boss.
The TV
Maybe coming through the board.
no, it's coming through the middle TV.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, is
All
that
right.
what it is?
The one that has
Okay.
on the.
Oh, okay.
It's the. You know
Mix
whose
on it.
fault
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is?
yeah.
It's Josh Fowler's fault because
Oh,
he
good.
just started playing stuff over there because they have the signal on.
Well, he's late to work. This show that he produces starts at 10, and he got in late at about
Yeah.
6 a.m.
He's
so.
doing so. There's a there's,
There we go. Thank
don't
you,
you
Nick.
don't
Thank you,
come in
Nick.
that early
Nicholas.
for work. You come in that early to get away from what he's trying to escape. Go ahead.
So we're getting the Christmas cards now from my wife's family in Nebraska, and her cousin, her first cousin, who is essentially like another sister. They all grew up together and did. Her kids now all have kids, and they all married, like right out of college, and good jobs, and they just start their families right away. And one of her cousin's kids in particular, he works in like some kind of engineering or something, and he didn't tell me, but like his mom told Marcy, and Marcy told me like what he's making with his degree, first couple years out of college, and he's with the girl that he loves, and they got married and started having kids, and I'm like, all right, it's not what I did or most people did or would choose to do, but he's making plenty. He's going to have the kid having portion of his life out of his way by the time he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
Like, thinking back on it, it's not the worst thing in the world,
Well-
because now here you and I are, Fred, the 50 or almost 50, and we're thinking, oh boy, I'm going to be working as hard as I can for many more years because my kids are young and aren't, our youngest aren't anywhere near college.
Yeah, but that's completely looking at from financial perspective. Here's another way to look at it.
Go ahead.
Is that this is honest, and I know that I'm divorced, so you can take this with a grain of salt, but it is statistically true. 50% of all marriages end in divorce, correct? Mm-hmm. Then what percentage of marriages out of the remaining 50% do you
End in
think
love.
that think should have been that the people would be happier if they weren't together? Based on just even people that you know.
At least a third.
At least a third.
Probably between 33 and 50%.
That's fair.
So
Yeah,
so let's go on the high side and say 30% of all people that stay married are truly happy.
So 30% of the 50%?
I'm just not very good with the different measurements.
Okay, I'm just trying to.
I'm saying 50%, then you add the 20% of the people that aren't happy.
Got
that
it.
leaves 30%.
Gotcha.
So who's the dummy now?
No.
So that the problem with that is that I would be very reticent if I was talking to my kids to go, you're going to be the same person at 40 that you were at 16 or that you were at 18. And so you mentioned that it's good for you financially. That might be true. But say you do get divorced. You're one of those 50 people that 50% of the people get divorced, and you're 32. Guess what? If you get married again, guess what you're doing again? You're having a whole other family. You're doubling down on that. That's just you have to believe in like this like cosmic love, like this almost like this otherworldly kind of emotion, which I would like to think exists. But if people can stay married and be with that person for that long without ever wanting to be in that situation, like voluntarily wanting to be in that situation and be very, very happy, then that is great news, because that means that exists.
Now, would you have kids with another family?
Yeah. I mean, if I really fell in love with someone and like and got married to them and they like really wanted to have kids,
Interesting.
I wouldn't take that off the table. No.
Huh.
Are you saying that just so your feed and algorithm doesn't get screwed up on the dating apps?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
good. All right.
That's fair.
Because
I
that's
like
lunacy.
that. Yeah.
It's crazy talk.
Out of your mind. If you're changing diapers in your 50s, forget it.
No, I would get a nanny.
There's no
chance.
No chance.
I'm with you, Hardy.
No,
Not
I mean,
a chance
I'm
in
saying
hell.
for me, no way,
Nope.
no way, no way. Not doing it.
I don't know. I do it.
Full of crap.
I'm not full of crap.
That's
I'm
why that's why you won't get a vasectomy. He said it on the air years ago. I'm not telling tales out of school. You've said this multiple times, that the only thing you have to offer a new bride is your seed.
Yeah. I was talking to a female friend of mine, not someone I'm at all involved with, and she was like, "Why don't you get a vasectomy?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, every girl should be on the pill. In fact, and if the pill doesn't work, girls can get implants now that it's non-intrusive almost.
Every girl should dye her hair and be on the pill.
I take back the pill, but should be on birth control or some sort of because I can understand hormonally that can screw girls up, but it's very simple now. They have the implants, the IUDs, I believe they're called
3-year copper IUDs. You got to read about them in the back of the weeklies.
Boom. Why not? And I believe they can be removed if you want to have kids.
Snip, snip.
Did you get a vasectomy?
Yes. Waited until our second was healthy, like right around 6 months. This one gonna live? We good? Okay, I'll be right back.
This one's gonna live.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
the
be.
move.
I'll be back. I'll be back in 90 minutes, and leave me alone for the rest of the day. Maybe first part of tomorrow. I'll be on the couch and have the frozen peas ready.
Yeah, I don't think that I want invasive surgery, and then it's not invasive. Everyone says, well, it is. It is invasive.
It's not great. It's not.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, I know, right? Like you had it, so
yeah.
But every girl will tell you, like, it's not bad. It's not invasive. Well, that's the definition of invasive. They cut your scrotum open. Like I know they don't cut it open, but they go in there, and so
they rip your balls out.
Well, they go in there and they start screwing around. I'll tell you that. And but I will say this is that when I was married, the chances and we had sex and everything. Obviously, I'm not saying we didn't have sex.
Yeah,
the chances of my wife getting pregnant were like 0.
Bone zone.
I would take it to the bone zone because I was in complete control of everything. I was so used to the experience. I mean, it was really like a mental affair.
Oh,
of like
Fred,
when
I
that
should
was
have
all
you.
gonna happen.
They should have you go in and talk to sex ed classes. There are ways of getting pregnant. That you think just because you don't come to completion, there aren't things floating around and swimming around.
Well,
it's in there. Nature's KY. It's got there's a little sperm in there. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but that's such. I mean, the chances of getting pregnant with all the time of the month that it has to be, and all the biological things that have to be going, and in the 1 out of a billion sperm that would make it, and then you're saying out of that very, very small amount. And I don't think that always happens either. I would contend. I mean, to not have control of that, you would have to be like super excited, just be like, oh, and that's not happening with anyone anymore. But it certainly wasn't going to happen with someone I had sex with a million times. Like I was in control of the situation. It was, you guys are married. I won't make you say it, but you're thinking about a bunch of different stuff. You got to really get in the zone.
I don't know that either one of us are on an island here, but we are on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to that.
Okay. So it's just the sensation of it is such that you.
And
Yeah,
her,
Hardy, let's get into this.
I still really get turned on by my wife.
Let's get in a break.
Huh?
John said, "Let's get into this." I said, "Let's get into." Break.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
All right.
No, but
I'm joking.
No. But that's but it's different. It's different. There's no if you. It's your wife is a very beautiful woman. I'm not doubting that you don't find her incredibly sexy. I'm saying that the idea that it's this thing that you can't control because you're just so full of lust and like this animal need is I don't believe unless you're so sensitive that you just like lose your mind as soon as it happens.
All right. Yeah. Score. Sweet nectar.
Huh?
Just wanted to throw a little Carl from Aqua Teen in there.
Okay, very good.
Well, that was...
So sweet.
Yeah. No,
I'm an animal.
I know.
I watched a big TT Boy with Amber Lynn. Did you know her brother was Buck Adams?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Fascinating. I didn't know that was
right?
an episode. Is that a new episode or one just that I haven't missed?
11 months ago, so fairly new,
Okay,
Adam.
so,
I didn't know they had him.
So let's see what you got, homeboy.
Nice.
Yeah, and I ended up, like, I was doing a million other things, but I ended up, like, a good hour of the Amber Lynn one.
Okay.
She had a settlement because her mother died getting hit with a concrete truck while she was in the car when she was a kid. Buck Adams bought himself a stock car.
Jeez, Louise.
Buck Adams bought himself a stock
TT
car.
Boy, not okay. Well, I'm putting that on my list.
All right, very good. We will be back in just a moment.
Stay humble.
Matt.
Stay tuned for more Ginger and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what happened last evening?
We're going to get to all the NFL stuff when we go around the NFL at 8 o'clock this morning. I do want to ask you one thing, though, Fred, to launch us into this. You were not here on Friday. Did you watch Thursday Night Football?
Yeah.
And did you see the end of the game where the Lions, in a tie game, decided with 38 seconds left after getting stuffed on 3rd and inches to go for it on 4th and inches, run the clock down, kick the field goal, and win as
3 yards closer.
And win as time expired. Yeah, run another play, get that clock down to 2 seconds.
I mean, if they didn't get it, if they didn't get it, it would be almost like they were in the same position. The way I looked at it is, if they didn't get it, would be like almost like in the same position as if they had kicked the field goal. In that, except they just would have lost the game in regulation. And I'll give you an example. Is yesterday the Jets were up, and then they kick a field goal to go up by 3, and there's less than a minute left in the game, and the kicker, for some reason, doesn't kick it out of the end zone. There's a return to like the 45, and then they kick a field goal to tie it. They win the toss and get a touchdown. The Lions' defense is decimated. They're out 12. They have 12 guys hurt on
12
defense.
or 13, yeah. They're far and away the NFL high on injury
So
reserve.
it made sense, but I did hear Teddy Bruschi and Rex Ryan on yesterday have an interesting discussion about it. Bruschi was like all up in arms about how irresponsible Dan Campbell was, and then Rex Ryan said, I like it because you have to understand how banged up the Lions defense is, and it's at that point. I don't like if you lose the toss in overtime, because your defense generally is gassed, and it's just easier to move the ball against them. You see that all the time. So I don't have a problem with Dan Campbell doing that. Plus, their offensive line's insane. And they probably felt that they had Green Bay worn down. And Green Bay's in that. And you have an advantage, because what if I'm trying to draw you off sides? Like, there's that part of it, is that you can't really get a jump if you're Green Bay, because there's that. What if they're just hard counting you to call timeout and then kick the field goal? So I didn't have a problem with it, and he does it all the time. Now, would I do that in like the NFC Championship game? I don't know.
I bet you he does. That Dan Campbell and Phil Perry was in here Thursday, and he made I forget, it wasn't Phil Perry because you would have been here, but somebody on Friday said, Bert Breer said it. Dan Campbell is what he is. He's been this way when they were bad. He's been this way this year. He'll be this way regardless of the circumstances. And there was a lot on the line for Detroit, Fred. If Detroit loses that game, maybe the NFC Championship game's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, which I'm not so concerned about. But go ahead. I mean, Philadelphia has got its own problems, and as we'll get into, there's that team can't get along. That team should have lost to Carolina yesterday. I'm not overly concerned about them going to Philadelphia. Well, listen, I mean, they could have to go to Minnesota. I mean, there's a.
But anyway, home field advantage.
I understand
first round bye.
Yeah, but it's also there. But also they won 11 games in a row. I don't think it's not the world's biggest deal if they lose that game. The season's not over. No, I don't have a problem with them doing that.
Okay.
Did you?
I would have kicked the field goal and expected your defense to stop them from you were talking about 30 seconds, and I know it could have been a couple of plays, but I also I would have kicked the field goal, but I wasn't surprised when they didn't. I wasn't surprised because they've been doing this, as you said, since Dan Campbell got there. And the fact that they may not do it in an NFC championship, but the fact that it's on the table is going to make other teams think this crazy son of a bitch might go ahead and just go for this here, and it's going to keep everybody off balance.
Plus, if you don't get it, they're in worse field possession than if you miss the field goal. or if you kick the field goal and then they're on the 30. So because they were what, on like the 20, on the 25, like I don't know. And I do think there's a huge difference between that game against Green Bay in the regular season and an NFC Championship game.
I mean, they had gone for it 5 times in that game. One of the times they went for it on 4th down, they were on their own 30. Oh, that's a bad one to lose. That's a bad spot to
worse.
turn the ball over.
I think that's worse. Like I think going for it on your own 30 is worse because you're giving up points.
Regardless of where you are in the game and what the score is.
Well, yeah, points are points. So, like at that point in the game, I think that's worse. If you don't get that you're conceding at least 3 points. And with the shape of the Lions' defense right now, you're probably conceding a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave Green Bay incredible field position that entire game. So, you saw that. I mean, Green Bay had a short field almost every time they had the ball.
Yeah. Let's go back to so that was Thursday. We'll work our way up to what actually happened last night. Let's get as far as Saturday when a certain somebody came into the game on the court against the Celtics.
That gives you a chance for Marcus Smart to come in this game. As a
Huge
crowd
ovation.
stands up.
Class.
9 years, 9 playoff appearances, and he won the hearts and minds of so many Boston fans.
He really did. There's no one more popular.
He was very popular.
Very popular.
Very
while he was
popular.
here.
Yeah, I did. Was on the radio the entire time. He was the most popular guy ever. Everyone loved the way he shot the ball. Everyone loved that he took shots at the end of games. It was the best, and it's just a coincidence that they're one of the best teams of all time. Now that he's not on it, it's real. What a guy!
You suck at homecomings. You are the worst person.
That
It
had a
comes
lot to do with the guy who replaced him.
Why? Why?
They got the guy who. I mean, it all worked out.
If you just lose Marcus Smart and then don't add anyone, it's different than losing Marcus Smart and adding Drew Holiday.
Let us revise history and shush.
Yeah, exactly. and John, so they got Drew Holiday, so that's a fact, and it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, I mean, that's like, well, if you don't get Drew Holiday, well, they did, and then also. Because
why do you hate Marcus Smart so much?
Yeah, I really hate him. I have something against him. I just know that Grandy's blowing it up, and I think it's a little ridiculous. Look, it's nice that everyone gave him a round of applause. I don't have a problem with it. He wasn't popular when he was here. Certainly not the last 3 or 4 years he was here. He wasn't. And I'll have Nicholas go back, or Ryan, and scour hours and hours and hours of this radio station and find one positive thing about Marcus Smart over those last 3 or 4 years. Be very difficult to find because the whole narrative is how on this show too.
Okay.
From you too. He was taking He's not a good offensive player, and he was acting like he was the king of the team.
The most consistently positive thing that I remember being said, and I said it myself, was Marcus Smart was a great example of a guy that no team wanted to play against. Defensively, nobody wanted to go up against him. He was like Grant Williams with actual defensive talent. You know, the hardo out there who was diving at every ball and making things miserable for teams when they were on offense. That was Marcus Smart. Teams did not like playing against him.
Right, but he also, I think, was bad for the locker room in that he took a leadership position that was undeserved and not respected. And, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. The team is much better without him. And I think even if they didn't get Drew Holiday, they'd be better without him.
Well, he made his presence known on that court on Saturday night. Let me tell you, boy.
Left side for John Moran against Drew Holiday. Ja picks up his dribble, finds Marcus Smart. Wide open, right side 3 is good. And Marcus Smart, after missing his first 5 shots in his return, the Boston knocks down a 3, one of the all-time leading scorers in this building.
How many did he end up with, John?
I think that was his only make of the night, Hardy. I think he was 1 of 11 from the field that night.
And it's not so much the one that's the problem, is that he took 11 shots.
Yeah.
Just stop taking shots.
Far and away the most by any bench player by about 5.
And that
He took 11 shots in 19 minutes.
Jesus Christ. You like his 19 minutes, he's so good.
And he was a minus 10.
Yeah, it was a minus 10. But it was a gritty, gutty minus 10.
But I'll tell you, Memphis is like one of those teams you'd pay to watch. Like, they're super high flying.
Did
and fun.
you see that Ja Morant dunk over Porzingis?
Yeah, I mean, boy, they're all like that though. Jaren Jackson is fun to watch. Like all those guys are fun. And then you got Marcus Smart, a big old clod out there.
Yeah.
So the Celtics actually lost 127-121 to the Memphis Grizzlies, and you were looking for that big bounce back after elimination from the Emirates World NBA In-Season Cup.
All season cup.
Now struggling. Now, they had won their previous three. They will get a nice little break here. They don't go again until Thursday night when they'll be home against the Pistons.
The Bruins got a long break too.
Bruins get a long break too. You want to do Bruins now? We can wait. We'll do it on the other side.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Because we'll get to Juan Soto coming up at 7.
Yes.
As if you don't know, he is signed with the New York Mets.
The details of the deal I have here next.
Yeah, well, not next so much as a 7.
Okay.
So I don't want to go 640 Juan Soto into 7. I
was talking about the update, which is shortly to follow.
Oh, I apologize.
Sports Hub headlines.
I forgot that you did those.
Yeah.
You're such an integral part of our show during it.
Yes. Thank you, Fred.
That I even forget you do those. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Here are John's headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
The Major League Baseball winter meetings got underway yesterday in Dallas, and Juan Soto made a big splash last night. He agreed to a 15-year, $765 million contract with the New York Mets. There are escalators in the final 10 seasons that would make the total value over $800 million. Mass Live is reporting the Red Sox were a finalist. Their final offer was in the 15-year, $700 million range. Patriots are finishing up their bye week. They visit Arizona this coming Sunday. Arizona lost to Seattle yesterday, 30-18. They are now 6-7. And the Bruins and Celtics had yesterday off. The Bruins will be in Winnipeg tomorrow night to kick off a 5-game road trip. Celtics' next game isn't until Thursday night when they play Detroit at TD Garden. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Charlie McAvoy, and Brian Scalabrine. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub. Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Brought to you by FanDuel. Sportsbook, make every moment more with FanDuel. This is the new Czarface Stress Eater featuring Cool Keith. And I described it, and the iced tea's on this song, but he makes many, many swears.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and fade that out.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right, Brett, you mentioned that the Bruins had a...
I got to do this.
What?
Out of the way. Be listening. It's shush. Be listening.
Tell me.
At 6:55 for your chance to score a 4-pack of ice skating passes.
Oh,
with
God, that's
Skate
9
Rental.
minutes from now.
This is paid for. Ice skating passes with Skate Rental for Boston's Winterfest, the city's largest and most immersive winter wonderland at Hood Park in Charlestown. I say Charleston because I just like to loosen it up. Enjoy light displays, an ice skating rink, live entertainment, festive foods, local vendors, social media moments, and more. Go to winterfestboston.com to learn more.
I'll see you there.
Yep.
All right. I'll go down. We'll do a show ice skating trip together. You want to do it?
My daughter's got to go to like some roller skating situation today. She's not looking forward to it. And I said, who's roller skating? Do you know? You want to hear something?
Where is there a roller rink?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this:
Who doesn't want to shoot the duck?
You want to hear something interesting? And I've never said this on the air, but it's true. And I didn't say it on the air because I'm embarrassed or anything. I just never came up. I was in like 4th or 5th grade. My best friend was Alex Cho. We had a trip to Bonaventure. I don't know if you know that, Artie. Bonaventure roller skating rink, and I didn't know how to roller skate, so I was probably in 4th grade. Yeah, I was a big loser.
Loser.
And Alex held my hand to like, because he knew how to skate, to like help me skate. And the teachers made us stop holding hands.
You two, cut that out.
Isn't that funny?
Like parents are talking.
I swear to God, they're like, they weren't mean about it, but they were like, hey, you guys can't like hold hands anymore. And like, and I just remember being like, what? Like, it didn't even occur to me.
Yeah.
I was that's innocence. And then I came home and I told one of my parents was like, "Oh yeah, they probably thought you guys were gay." And then I'm like, "Oh, well, that's a little piece of childhood that's been taken away." Like was innocently, my friend was helping me.
And since you
what do you want him to hold too? Like I didn't know how to
your
skate.
arm, maybe that would have made them feel better.
And by the way, I was cool enough in my elementary school that I could do something like that and not be socially shunned.
So you think?
No. I was vicious. If anyone, I was capable of being very, very mean. Believe it or not, there was almost a fear around me.
See, and I didn't think you would have been a nice little kid, but it turns out that you were. You had everything together. You could be mean at the drop of a hat. Yeah, good.
Yeah, kind of almost a psychopathic. No feelings.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the Bruins had some time off. They did. They played Wednesday. They didn't go again until Saturday when they took on the Flyers and got the win in overtime 4-3, setting up what they will encounter next, which is going on the road. They actually play on Tuesday, so they don't have that much time off.
I just thought it was. They've been playing like every day at home.
Yeah, it's not like 2 mini breaks. You know,
right.
They had the Wednesday, Saturday schedule, and now they'll go again and get on the road for that Western road trip: Winnipeg, Seattle, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton. But it was really John Tortorella talking after the game that ended up getting the headlines because he was not thrilled with the way the game went, the way it was played from the Bruins side, and the way it was officiated.
One thing I teach my team to do is not dive. Maybe I should start teaching them that. The way this has gone here, the way it goes on, maybe I should start teaching them how to dive.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But he says, hey, they're just trying to be proud of the way that they play.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into it. It's one of the things we talk about most as a team. We're going to play an honest game. There's no cheating. There's no embarrassing referees. You don't embarrass the referees. And that went on here tonight is just ridiculous. So I'm proud of the way our team played. But other people had a little bit to do with that also.
Oh, by the way, if it would win him another cup, he would have them take improv lessons. He would have them at Second City in the off season. That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. I teach them not to dive. Yeah. That's right. In the low stakes world of professional coaching, you want to keep it on the level. You don't want any kind of advantage.
Right. No one else is out there investigating every angle in order to pick up points every night. No. We just want to play an honest game.
And football, which is inherently a more dangerous game, I mean, if you've seen 400-pound offensive linemen when they're lightly tapped fall onto their backs. If it picks up 15 yards, I'm doing it. If it gets me on the power play, I'm doing it. Now there's a level of like Vancouver-y, with the Sedines and stuff where you kind of look like a puss.
Canadians have been famous for that for 2 decades.
Right, but I mean, like, if you don't want me to sell a call occasionally, well, I got news for you. If it wins games, wins games.
Yeah, I mean, it happened in the Buffalo game last night.
The Rams offensive lineman that you're talking about got lightly tapped, jolted himself back, spun around, and landed on his stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. I mean, I watched football yesterday. I didn't really care about anything that was going on, so I just was watching random stuff.
Wasn't it fun to watch without like having much on the line?
It's
yesterday?
fantastic.
There was nothing going on that I cared about.
Yeah, it was
nothing
great.
going on yesterday that I cared about. I did watch the Jets, and I did watch Aaron Rodgers play decent, and I watched them choke 5 fourth quarter with leads they've choked away this year.
Yeah, but what I mean. That Rams Buffalo game where they scored 66 points, no turnovers, just
86.
When Stafford's on,
86,
when Stafford's on, he's something else.
44-42.
44-42, 86 points, no turnovers, and you're just watching football without any. Yeah, you may have had a little action going. I had a little Hero World Challenge action going. That I was
thank God for that.
What's that mean?
The Hero World Challenge.
Is that a Japanese eating contest?
Me. It's Tiger Woods hosted a tournament in the Bahamas.
Oh, I thought it was like a guy named Hero, like the sushi guy.
No. And aren't you proud of me a little bit for knowing that, Hardy?
Well, we talked about it with Kendra on Friday, and Kendra and I were talking about Sahith Tagala's chances of winning. And
were you nicer to her?
we had a really good segment with Kendra, and
one segment or two?
Two, and she told me. Don't back off that Sahith Tagala to win bet. Instead, take him as a top 5. I took the top 5 and then, luckily, cashed it out as he slipped from second to third. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Can I make a bet?
Cashed it out, and it was the right thing to do.
Can I make a bet that I can collect on right now? I bet you guys, I don't know, 10,000 to 1 odds in your favor. If I'm wrong, $1 pays out 10,000.
Okay.
That she sat in this chair and in some way, shape, or form said something was disgusting around here.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
That's a little hacky stuff.
Yeah.
But then we got into the nuts and bolts of it, and I blame the overnight oats. Because you come in here and
first of all, what was the disgusting thing this time?
The microphone.
Stuff caked on the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
And I bet
you asked. That's what it was.
It's a piece of audio equipment. It's just caked. Go ahead.
And I said, yeah, he comes in here and he eats his overnight oats.
That's true.
First thing in the morning, and the oats, fly out of your mouth and get stuck on the microphone.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, she had the Clorox wipes. She wiped things down vigorously.
Have you seen Felger wipe things down on TV? They had a video up.
Oh, he's been doing that for 30 years.
I know, but I've never seen it. They had a video like on that they put out social media of like something they talked about, and I watched the beginning of it, and he's doing this whole monologue, and he's wiping the outside of the monitor down, like the border of the monitor.
Oh yeah, he's cuckoo.
Like
No, he's
he's
not.
insane.
Yeah, he's always.
What are you? What in all honesty, what is the fear? Like, what is? I understand. I don't even understand the microphone. One thing I'm not is germphobic. Apparently, that's like one anxiety thing that I've somehow miraculously don't have, as opposed to the 10,000 other things I'm got anxious about. But what is the fear? Like, the fear is what? Getting sick?
Yeah.
Getting sick if you touch something that someone else touched?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, thank God I don't have that. Oh, boy, that's got to be a nightmare.
To give Felger credit, he had it long before COVID. He's always had this.
I didn't. Yeah, okay, good. I didn't even think it was about COVID.
I told you hearing Jason Bateman talk about this and like how paralyzed. I don't know if he still is, but has been. Like he goes into a restaurant, opens the door, has to go to the bathroom to wash his hands, sits back down, takes a roll of bread from the basket, then has to go back to the bathroom and wash his hands. Why? Because someone else touched that bread to put it into the basket in the kitchen. Now he has to wash his hands because he touched the bread, taking it out of the bowl.
That's crazy. Like eat the bread?
But he's like up and down going to the bathroom to wash his hands.
Whoa. Did he ever explain why he'd eat something someone has touched, but won't touch something someone has touched?
It's for the same reason why Felger has to come in here and wipe everything down, but pressing elevator buttons and everything else. Oh, no, that's okay. No, that's much filthier than anything you're going to encounter in here. There's no rationality to any of it.
Right, and if you got sick from just touching stuff, we'd all be walking around sick constantly.
We'd
We'd all be
walking
dead.
around dead.
Yeah, like the world is designed that you can touch things. That's like at the gym when people wipe down machines when you're not sweaty. Like, just why do I have to wipe this down? Because I touched it? Because I touched something? I'm not wiping down everything I touched. You're going to end up getting real sick. Your body's not going to have any immunity.
That's right.
All right. When we come back, Juan Soto is signed, and we will discuss. Oh, by the way, I have to do this. Car number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985, will score a 4-pack of ice skating passes with skate rental for Boston's Winterfest, the city's largest and most immersive winter wonderland at Hood Park in Charlestown. Enjoy light displays and ice skating rink, live entertainment, festive foods, local vendors, social media moments, and more. Go to winterfestboston.com to learn more. We'll be right back.
the Patriots.
Into the end zone.
Play here.
Touchdown for the Patriots.
WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Well, Major League Baseball free agency is officially underway. Last night, Juan Soto agreed to the biggest contract in pro sports history, and it's with the New York Mets. It's a 15-year, $765 million contract with an opt-out after 5 seasons. If he stays for the final decade of the deal, his salary would go up by $4 million a year to push the deal over $800 million. The Yankees came in at 16 years and around $760 million, and Mass Live is reporting the Red Sox final offer was for 15 years and around $700 million. Patriots are finishing up their bye week. They visit Arizona this Sunday. Arizona is now 6-7. They lost to Seattle yesterday, 30-18. The Bruins and Celtics had yesterday off. The Bruins will be in Winnipeg tomorrow night. The Celtics' next game isn't until Thursday evening, where they're at TD Garden to play Detroit. In college football news, Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, and Arizona State have first-round byes in the first-ever 12-team playoff bracket. SMU made the field. Alabama did not. Boston College finished 7-5 on the season. They'll play Nebraska in the Pinstripe Bowl December 28th at Yankee Stadium, and it's for the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. That happens the same day. It'll be Connecticut against North Carolina. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Sylvan Street Grill's annual holiday gift card sale. Get 20% off all gift card purchases now through Tuesday, December 10th at the Sylvan Street Grill in Peabody and Salisbury. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you
Or
are.
who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. You're stealing. You're a thief. You're stealing Steve Craig's thing. Adam 12 loves it because, and people really like this, and I love Steve, but Steve Craig, who does middays at 99X in Atlanta, he did this thing where he did the House of Retro Pleasure, I think it was called, and it was at noon. It was really cool back in the day. He would just play anything he wanted, and at noon on a commercial radio station in Atlanta. But at Christmas he would just ring jingle bells during every song,
Like every song for like a full hour.
like the little bell thing.
It's one of my favorite. Yeah, the little like this, just that on the beat, you know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and he
think
would
that's the
just-
funniest thing in the world.
Yeah, and he would do it for an hour, and people would like eat it up, and I'd be like, "This isn't funny," but there you have it.
I figured you would enjoy.
Before we get to the Juan Soto thing, just very quickly, I have a question. Why does Kendra sit here while she's here?
Because we had 3 people around here, and there was no room. We had Paul Perillo in the middle. We had Hardy over here, and it would be here. So rather than
Where
sliding,
there's no room.
give
Why
her-
is there no room? When Bird and Milliken were here, they sat in those 2 chairs. I'm just saying, if it's so gross back here, why does she sit here? She could sit in a cleaner environment.
She was given the option to sit in that chair. She sat in that chair.
You know why? I think it's to lean into this hack bit. How gross it is here. If it was so gross, why don't you just go sit somewhere else?
Could be. Maybe she's pulling your pigtails a little bit too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's probably in love with me.
That could be.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going
Soak
on.
in the Freddie T aura at the other end of the room.
I'm obviously being sarcastic. I don't think I probably know that's not true. All right, here we go. So Juan Soto has signed a deal for $765 million with the New York Mets, as predicted by almost everyone. That could go up to over $800 million. And there's some very interesting opinions on this. Now, Juan Soto's on-base percentage is over 400. He's one of the great hitters in Major League Baseball history. But and what this means to the Yankees, who I guess were right around there.
They offered 1 year more and $5 million less.
Yeah, so Soto just was cherry-picking whatever, and I guess Cohen was very involved in the process, but whatever. It was, he just took the $5 million in the last year, so it's more of, per year. They're not deferring any of the money, which should be illegal anyway. And what this means very quickly for the Yankees is Aaron Judge will never have a season like he did last year again. I mean, that was a lot of that was the protection of Juan Soto. And so that is very negative for Aaron Judge. A couple interesting things I've heard since then. The reason that some believe Aaron Judge is still a Yankee is that Steve Cohen did not pursue Aaron Judge in free agency because he had been approved as an owner recently, and that he did it out of deference to Hal Steinbrenner, who had allowed him to be an owner. So I found that to be interesting. Also, the idea that Soto is overpaid, two reasons. One, in terms of WAR, Ohtani and Mookie Betts are better, like are considered better players who make less. Mike Trout in his prime is considered a better player. And two, the idea that with this addition, as rich as Cohen is, I don't know how much more he can do. Are they the second best team even in the in their division? Are they better than Atlanta while healthy? Are they? And they're certainly not better than Philadelphia.
No,
even with Juan Soto. So
no.
This is, if you don't win a championship after doing this, it's really it's wasted money, I guess. And I guess, why is Cohen richer than everyone else? Like, I don't understand, like, why, like, everyone's just like, because I like baseball and I'm aware of what's going on, but like Cohen, the owner of the Mets, people just go like, oh, he'll do anything. And I don't understand how he's richer than John Henry or anything.
I don't think he's necessarily richer. I mean, when you get into hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, I don't know what.
No, they're all billionaires,
what
right?
the divider is when you get to that big of a number. But I just think Cohen's willing to spend anything.
Okay.
And the owners, I think some owners have like a governor on. Okay, we'll go to this, and then the rest is crazy. I think if the Yankees had bid $800 million, Cohen would have bid $850.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He just wants that bright, shiny new toy for his team.
Right.
That's what he wants. So he'll spend anything.
But what do you? Okay, so I'll ask you this: if Soto, Soto's on the Mets. If the Mets finish third in that division, which is very, very possible,
they tied Atlanta last year, but Atlanta didn't have Acuna for most of it.
They didn't have anybody. Atlanta was missing a ton of players last year. They were real banged up. So if they come in third in that division, I mean, there's a certain cap. I mean, I don't care how rich you are. There's a certain point where this is your big signing. This is your big guy for the next 5 years, certainly. Yeah. Right? Like they're not going to sign like another Juan Soto.
No. And he's getting paid $51, and it'll be $55 million a year until he's over 40.
Right.
And if you're Cohen, you're going to eat about $200 million on the back end, too. It's not a direct comparison, but Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera made however much. The last 4 years of Cabrera's career, he was wildly overpaid.
I can do you better. How about Ken Griffey Jr. or Trout? How about at 30?
Trout is a bet.
Well, Ken Griffey Jr. when he went to Cincinnati, he wasn't any good anymore,
and he got hurt a lot.
Well,
like
that's
Trout
the
did.
thing.
Yeah,
it's because you get hurt. Yeah, so I mean, but that's you're rolling the dice.
It's a little different because Soto plays a corner outfield spot and he'll wind up as a DH, whereas those two guys played center field. But yes,
sure. But you're betting on just when you're paying someone that much amount of money and you're paying him for that long. I mean, listen, Cabrera was worth his contract in Detroit. I mean, he was, I think, worth the contract in Detroit. Soto's probably worth it because it now the Mets. This is a big deal for the Mets because the Mets are always the little sister to the Yankees.
They'll
with
be
things
a lot
like that.
more relevant. And if you're Cohen, you injured the Yankees while getting this guy,
right?
So.
But even it's because they're never going to win like titles like New York will or has. But by doing this, you're now the relevant one, right? Like you've done the big move and so you're the relevant team. And I'm not sure how many times that's happened where the Mets have just straight out outbid the Yankees for a superstar. I don't know how many times that's happened. The existence of those franchises.
The big question locally is how big of an influence were the Red Sox in the bidding? They came in, according to Sean McAdam, at about 15 years and $700 million. And now the question is, were they ever really involved, or was it just another showcase to see, we're trying? In my mind, it doesn't matter. I never thought Soto. I thought Soto was a pipe dream for this place anyway.
Why would that? Why? Well, you were never going to outbid the Mets.
Right. I never thought the odds of the Red Sox getting this guy was less than 1% for me to begin with anyway.
He would have had to have wanted to come here for reasons beyond money.
Well, yeah, that's why they sent David Ortiz in to pitch him, and
But what I'm saying is that wasn't going to happen, as evidenced by that he signed. He didn't stay with the Yankees. He signed with the Mets, and the Yankees have a better chance of winning, I think, than the Mets. And he didn't. That didn't seem, because there was all this stuff like the future, and he was impressed with the. He was impressed with the Red Sox and how they were built to win. None of that. None of that was even true. If it was $1 more, he was going to take the $1 more. He didn't care about where he played or what was going on.
And the Red Sox, because of where they've been the last 5 years, would have had to outbid Steve Cohen by $50 million to get him to come there.
I don't think so. I think you would have had to outbid Steve Cohen by $5 million, and Steve Cohen wasn't going to allow that to happen. And I don't know why. So the exercise of going after Juan Soto, let's play this through. So I'm the Red Sox, and I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to fake like we want Juan Soto. And then they go, okay, that's a great idea. Why? And you go, well, because people will think that we went after him, and they'll like that. And then I'll go, okay, so we're going to use resources and manpower and all this stuff to entertain this thing that's never going to happen. We're not going to sign him invariably. And then how many more tickets do we sell because we did this? And the answer is zero. So if indeed it was this elaborate scam by the Red Sox just to put their names in the hat to screw around, and they don't do anything else in free agency, you've sold not one more ticket. You just wasted your time. You screwed around and wasted your time.
And that's the thing. Now, using the second half of that sentence, there are still a lot of free agents out there that can help this team. Max Fried, Corbin Burns, the guy, according to Bob Nightingale, they're going to pivot to immediately, Teoscar Hernandez, who I think they had the highest bid on the table for him last year before he went to the Dodgers. But Teoscar Hernandez is a right-handed bat this lineup needs. He hit 30 home runs last year. I mean, that's the guy you really need to include in this lineup.
Yeah, because Boris got this deal done because the Ohtani thing screwed everyone else. And so Boris realized, okay, I got to get this deal done at the beginning of the winter meetings, or I'm screwing every one of my clients. Because if I was a guy that had Boris as an agent and I wasn't one of the top 5 paid players in the league.
Jordan Montgomery, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would.
Arizona, after the season started.
Yeah. I'm dumping him as an agent. I don't want Boris. I don't want anything to do with Boris. He's only going to be concerned with the guy who's making him the most money. So Boris, I guess, to not alienate the rest of every player in baseball, got this done. So there is an opportunity, because that's what happened to Toronto last year, is that they went all in on Ohtani, and then they thought they had Ohtani. When Ohtani went to the Dodgers, they were left with it in their hands, going, oh boy, now everyone else is gone. Like we've screwed this whole thing up. So, yeah. I mean, listen, the Red Sox need pitching anyway. That you could make the trade with the White Sox to get Crochet. You could make that. You could make a trade to get him.
There are a lot of resources available, prospect-wise and money-wise. And at last count, I was reading Jen McCaffrey this morning, there's $60 million under the luxury tax threshold.
Yeah.
There's no excuse not to spend. If it isn't Soto, then it should be at least one or two other guys, big impact guys.
Okay.
Because they've talked a really good game here the last month.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd fake it, but sure, I guess. But look, from a fan perspective, having Juan Soto play here 81 times a year would have been really fun. It would have been great. But I think if you're a Red Sox fan and you want to win, given what that you have in the pipeline, if you go and you sign a couple starting pitchers, you're a better team.
Right.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
It wouldn't be the right move for you as a fan if what you're looking for is the continuation or the start of building something toward a winning ball club, a consistently winning baseball team for the Mets, it makes sense. It makes sense to add that piece. Now, the money, we'll never be able to wrap our heads around it. And, toward the end of the deal, if he chooses to stay there, when the money will actually go up. If he opts in after the 5 years, he actually makes more money. Okay, that's ridiculous toward the end. But for the Mets right now, this makes more sense than it would for the Red Sox.
Agreed.
The way the team is constructed.
Agreed. And even though this is very low on the list, Soto would have been yet another left-handed bat for this lineup, which they don't need.
Yeah, you figure that.
They need a right-handed middle of the order bat.
Let's say you keep 3 of your top prospects and they end up being starting Major League Baseball players.
Yep.
You need pitching again.
A lot.
You have positional talent in your pipeline. Enough to trade for pitching, which I think they should do. I think that they should sign a free agent. I think they should trade for Crochet, and I think they should extend them.
There are a lot of guys there that fit what they need specifically, sitting there now. And if you're going to offer, and let's go back, if you're going to offer $700 million to Juan Soto, you damn sure should be in the market for a $150, $200 million pitcher.
Right. And one more thing, and this is just selfishly, all of this is not good for baseball.
No.
That while they try to shorten games and use golden batters and everything else, you're alienating. I mean, like if you took the United States as a whole and showed where the interest would be based on payroll, it would look like the size of Hawaii. Like, I mean, it would look like you were like one of those countries that the Soviet Union blocked off into. It's a tiny portion of the Northeast, and then a tiny portion of California. That's entirely who's in on this, and then Toronto sits there and doesn't get anyone, but they try. I mean, it's really not great. I mean, if you want to grow baseball, people have to care about it. By their teams. Like, no one wants to go to something just to watch guys screw around and lose. So, I mean, they might really, like, with all this stuff that Manfred's trying to do and all this stuff, and the players have no incentive to do this, but you might really want to try to think of a way.
Think about the two teams that made the World Series last year and how much money they spend.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yankees and Dodgers.
And I'll give you and the thing is that if you're Baltimore and you got like a 4-year window, and if you don't win a World Series, you're out, and then you can't do it again for 20 years. Well, what about Tampa? All right, well, I
think that run's done. I think that miracle run with those plucky kids is over.
Hey, and by the way, you want to get rid of everything Tampa does. Like, you want to get rid of, and rightly so, openers. And you know why Cleveland? Here's how Cleveland designs their team. Cleveland goes, we can't compete free agent-wise. We can't compete. So what we can do, though, this is everything the league doesn't want. What we can do, though, is draft and sign 1 million guys that throw 100. And what we're going to do is they're all pitched in an inning. And so you're going to know no one on our team because they're all going to be no-name relievers. There's going to be none of the drama of Oral Hershiser, or Jack Morris throwing 11 innings in a playoff World Series game. There's going to be none of that because all we can do is we can pay a guy $3 million that can throw 100 and pitches an inning. He's going to blow his arm out in 2.5 years, and we'll get another one.
Yeah. So
hooray!
You'll never have a chance to learn who he is because he won't be around long enough, and we're going to try and win a bunch of games 2-1.
Right. And so, hooray. Great. And then we're going to get to the playoffs, and then you hope we don't make the World Series. You cross your fingers, Major League Baseball, that we don't make the World Series because I got Arizona and Texas in my back pocket. I know Texas had bid on some stars, but you know what I'm saying. No one cared. No one cared. I highly doubt anyone listening to the sound of my voice cared about that World Series at all. Was all invested in it. So there you go. Congratulations to the Mets. WFAN has something to talk about now, that their two football teams are disgraces.
And we're getting that much closer to the first athlete that is going to have $1 billion contract. It seems unthinkable 5 years ago. We're probably
Within
5
the
years
next
away.
5, yeah, within the next
5 years away.
Within the next 5, he'll have it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Adam, how can you like this game? It's not fair.
No, they're the workers. Pay the workers, man.
That's right, baby.
That's who you think of, those baseball players.
I mean, but there's, I mean, like if you're sitting in Seattle, which is like a decent market, I mean, you're sitting like, well, why should I ever go to a game? There's no reason for me to go to a game. My team's okay. They're never going to win a World Series. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hook.
JR, Toucher, and Hardy. Mike Reese is the ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Patriots. I was in the steam room on Friday because, I didn't work, so I took a steam. And into the steam room comes a certain NFL reporter, Ben Volen.
Huh.
And the whole time, and I said, "Hey, Ben, what's up?" We talked for a minute, and I went, "I wish you were Mike Reese." Why is this not Mike Reese next to me in the steam room?
Huh. Have Ben take that.
He understood.
Yeah.
By the way, Mike Reese is brought to you by DN Van Lines. Moving your home or business and need a recommendation from someone? How about a recommendation from almost the entire staff here at the Sports Hub and the Sports Hub itself? Yes, they moved the station too. DNVanlines.com. Mike joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Hi, Mike.
Good morning, Fred. Good morning, Hardy. Good morning, John.
Hi,
Fred,
Mike.
Of all the places, Fred, that I thought would start this morning, in the steam room with you and Ben Volen was not on my bingo card.
Yeah, and the thing is you got to cover the metal part, a little metal square in there with your hand, because that is the indicator to get the steam going. It's not the green button outside. That's just for all of you to know.
Okay.
You got to stand there. You look like a hot shot, too, when you do it. You put your hand over it, and then out comes the steam. You ever been in a steam room with Ben Volen on the road, Mike Reese?
I have not. I am a steam room connoisseur, I guess, if that's the right word. So, but I guess my question: how long for you in there? Are you one of those that doesn't come out, or you got a 5-minute limit, 10-minute?
You want to know what I do for real? Here's what I do. If I have the time, so I had a lot of time on Friday. So what I did is I lifted, I did cardio, then I went to the sauna. 15 minutes. Now that's a struggle for me to stay in the sauna. The last 3 minutes of that 15 minutes is very difficult for me. Then I go to the ice, the cold plunge, and I go in there for 6 minutes. That's a piece of cake. I do that just to swing it around a little bit, alpha style, because no one else can do it. Then what I enjoy, honestly, the most is the steam room. I spent 20 minutes in there. I could spend 20 minutes in there. I could spend a half an hour in there.
But
I enjoy the steam room.
Of the three things, that is seemingly giving you the least amount of benefit.
I would agree. Yeah, the dry heat. I would argue it's a tie with the cold plunge for the least amount of anything good going on. But the dry heat of the sauna is the most beneficial. And if you even wear a watch that tracks your heart rate goes up in there. It's almost like a cardiovascular exercise for yourself. And you're ridding yourself of toxins and that. But the steam room, I just find relaxing.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, Volen might come in. You never know.
Right.
Schwitzing together.
Yeah, when he gets up, you can sit where he sat and kind of try to get him on you.
Yeah.
You get that stuff going on for you. What do you do during the bye week, Mike Reese? Did you book any tickets to see bands?
Did not. Lot of relaxation, family time, and actually yesterday was nice. Just maybe watch some other games, which I don't get to do that often because just sort of so focused on the Patriots. So got to watch the end of the Bills-Rams, and then last night Chiefs-Chargers. That was good action. So.
You know what, Mike? Faith, family, friends, and football. It sounds like a winning recipe for anyone.
And
God bless.
And steam rooms.
And steam rooms, right. If it started with an F, which sometimes goes on in steam rooms, if you go to Plato's Retreat. All right. Bill Belichick, do you think he'd take the North Carolina job?
I think he would take it.
And do you think that it's true that it's based on Steve Belichick being the coach in waiting? And Steve Belichick better than me, as someone who's never seen him in person. How does that play if you're Steve Belichick? If you're Steve Belichick, do you want that?
Yeah, I think so, Fred. And the reason I say it, and it's just my opinion, I don't have any inside information on it. I just think, to me, Bill Belichick is a coach, and coaches want to coach. And if the opportunity isn't there in the NFL, and that's the best opportunity, I think he would take it. And an added bonus would be if he can set up his son as a successor and have the time with his son while he's still coaching. That to me would be a win for him.
Because he was so absent when he was younger because he was coaching so hard. Now, here's the deal. Is it more of an advantage for Bill to have his son as an heir apparent? Is that attractive to North Carolina? Or is it more of an advantage, because I think it was Maz talking about this, or is it more of an advantage of the son having the dad be the coach and take the job?
So in what way, Fred? Help me
All right, so
understand.
Maz's argument, which I found compelling, was what if what if North Carolina goes like, look, we just had Mac Jones, who's old, and is dating a 24-year-old volleyball player. And that's gross, too. They said, but she is not a philosophy major. She's a math whiz. And he just loved, they met doing
number
puzzles.
crunching.
On the plane.
Sudoku on the plane.
Sudoku on the plane is how they met. I just tried to make Mike uncomfortable. But Mac Jones, seriously, is a year older than famous coach, a year older than Bill Belichick. Maybe North Carolina goes, look, well, if we hire Bill Belichick, it's not good long term for our program because he's old. And Bill Belichick can say, well, listen, I'll instill my program, but I have my son, who's a very capable coach, and where is he at? Oregon?
Washington. Defensive coordinator at Washington.
Defensive coordinator at Washington. So he has got a pedigree. Like, that wouldn't be unheard of the defensive coordinator of Washington getting a head coaching job. But I'll set the program, and my son can take it over, and he'll be your coach for the next, 20 years. What is of more value, do you think? Do you think Belichick gets the North Carolina job without his son as his successor, basically, is the question?
I get it. I do, Fred. And I guess the analogy I would make is like Nick Saban. When this college playoff came out yesterday, and I don't follow it that closely, but he was someone that I sought out his opinion on the teams because I think he's like a PhD level coach, and I want to hear from people like that. And I think when you have someone like that, the view of football that you have is forever changed. And I think that's what you're getting. If you're North Carolina with Belichick, he comes down for however many years, and everyone that touches that program will be better for it when he's there and in the ensuing years, because he thinks and lives the game at a level that few others do.
And I like it from both parts. I make fun of Belichick all the time, and I think he's a dick. But what I will say is this, is that I think that it's tremendous for the North Carolina program, and I don't understand why he wouldn't want to do this anyway. Like, this is, you get in there and if you really love coaching and you are the like leader of men, this would seem like the great opportunity. You can mold these kids. They have to do everything you say. They can't say the game's passed you by. This would seem like the most fun, certainly, right?
Well, so to me, if I'm him, I prefer NFL just because that's what I've lived all those years. But if there's my view, Fred, my opinion, if there's no NFL, like, why not? And just to sort of take what I was saying before one step further as an example of why I think, like, if you have Bill, that you'll never look at the game the same way again, and you'll be better for it. The example I would give is yesterday's Rams-Bills game. Brady's in the booth, and the Bills are driving down. They had 3 timeouts, and they sneak the ball at the 1-yard line, Fred. And Brady says right away, and he didn't get in, and they had to use the timeout. And Brady said right away, he goes, that probably lost him the game. Like, you can't run there because you have to use the timeout. Now you can't kick it away to them and use your 3 timeouts and expect to get the ball back. My first thought was, that's Bill. And so that's one example right there where I'm like, Bill Belichick to Tom Brady to the world. And I know maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but I think just to articulate my point.
Or common sense.
I don't know, though. If it's common sense, why'd they run it?
Because they think that Josh Allen is huge and that he'll get it for sure, and that it's worth taking the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just one more thing on this, Mike, and this is something that Bert was talking about when he was here on Friday, trying to justify bringing in Bill, even if he's only going to be here for a couple of years. And let's take the Steve Belichick taking over part out of it for this. Is there value to having Bill come in there, prop your program up, get it up, in the national spotlight, win or lose, just for the notoriety of it, even if he's going to leave after a couple of years and he doesn't have a tremendous amount of success? To me, that's where I'm still on the fence. Like, I don't know if there's a whole lot of value in just getting the notoriety of having Bill Belichick as the head coach there and getting a couple of players to come in, because we see players leave now anyway.
Yeah, and second he leaves, the program goes right back.
Essentially, Mike, the question I'm asking is it enough just to have people talking about you? Does that make it worth it?
So to me, it does, Hardy. And I guess maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Like, I think he's going to win there. Like, because I think he's a great coach. He's going to elevate them to a higher level. So I guess I didn't even consider the scenario that they wouldn't win.
Okay.
You should.
Let's see. How do you get players now? I mean, it makes even more sense. How do you get players? You pay them. How do you get your players paid? Boosters and people around the organization and businesses that are fans and rich alumni. And if you hire Bill Belichick, that's going to excite them. And then so even in the short term, you pay the players, and before they put a cap on it this offseason, get as many as you can. All right, there's no more time for debate. It's time to get to our game. Mike Reese loves anything that has music in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is and or what's going on. So we fashioned a game for you, Mike Reese, okay?
Let's go.
All right. What was the last concert you saw?
That was Bret Michaels that we talked about in Lynn.
Okay, what was the one before that?
That was Rick Springfield, Woonsocket.
So he sees a lot of crap. So here we go.
and we don't have to keep score, but just randomly, we're going to play you a song, and we're going to guess: have you seen them? Would you see them? And do you know the song? We're just gonna have a quick discussion, but we'll have you listen to this first song, and then we'll go.
What a video for this song.
Oh.
He's walking around with the gang. All right.
I'm going yes, yes, and yes. He knows who it is. He's seen him, and he would see him again.
Go ahead.
Couldn't hear the song. What was the song?
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. All right.
Take two. Hold on.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We're gonna give you a chance to.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
No.
That's good. I don't know why it's not feeding down the line.
We might have to do it in studio.
St. Elmo's
right,
fire.
Oh, John Parr.
Saves the bit.
Outstanding. Well done.
Have you seen him live?
I haven't. I didn't even know he's touring. I would go see him.
No, I don't know
Okay,
if he's
would go
touring. I don't
see
know if
him.
he's alive.
All right, so I got 1 out of 3.
You would go see him.
I would go see him.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. All right. We'll figure out our technical problems and we'll try this again. Maybe just once a week we'll ask you one and see if you got it. John Parr.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Mike. I'm envious of you for some reason. I wish I liked anything that much. That you would go out and see Rick Springfield.
Yes.
He's got a little bit of Jim Louth in him. I wish I liked anything as much as Mike and Jim like everything.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Mike Reese, I'm glad you enjoyed the bye week. Back to business this week. We appreciate it. Everyone read them on ESPN. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the show.
Thanks,
all right. When good for whoever found this, but whenever Belichick's name's in the news, you know one of his barnacles is going to come out and start using his mouth. And we will have that for you in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
Major League.
You'll always be my favorite.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. I don't have a lot of time. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We talked to Mike Reese. You know by now, Belichick and North Carolina are courting each other. So who's got to come out? Because it's all he's got to talk about. When Bill Belichick dies, Lombardi's got to go with him. Because Mike Lombardi is a big piece of garbage, an arrogant idiot. And I don't even know who this was, but someone found it, and good for them.
I believe it was Ryan who came.
Well, fantastic. He was on some. Yeah, it doesn't matter where he was, but thank you, Ryan.
On the Lombardi line.
Yeah.
And he's sitting with Dave Ross reacting to the news about Bill Belichick interviewing for the North Carolina head coaching job.
And I feel a little silly that I didn't know that that Mike Lombardi and Dave Ross had a media thing that they were doing together, but I do feel a little silly. But
And I don't want to goof too much on Dave Ross because there's plenty of Mike Lombardi in this. But Dave Ross tries to make a couple of points in this that just don't make any sense.
Well, we can make fun of everyone. I mean, it doesn't have to be constrained to this one break.
Well, if we make fun of ourselves all the time, it's okay to poke fun every once in a while. But there's enough Lombardi here to latch on.
Well, we'll be the judge of what we make fun of. We can make fun of a lot. I have no problem making fun of Dave Ross. You get in bed with the devil, you're going to get stung with a horn. You know? Mm-hmm. Things are going to get hot.
Yeah.
You understand? All right, here we go.
Bill has always been somebody who loves coaching.
And you get a huge, you've ever seen him with his pants off? He's like a stallion. Stupid.
Bill has always been somebody who loves coaching, right? And I think the way college football has changed dramatically. I think Bill's been in that environment for his whole life, pro football. When you look over the landscape of the NFL, I think the question mark really becomes, where are the great jobs?
First of all, he knows Bill because he knows he likes coaching. Mm-hmm. So that's only the most intimate of relationships could glean that information. Right. And second of all, they must all know he doesn't have a chance to get an NFL job.
Where are the great jobs in the NFL? Any NFL team that has a head coaching job.
Or how about, I don't know.
Head coach in the NFL.
Like, you're such a good coach. Yeah, I don't know, Jacksonville. They have Trevor Lawrence, or if Dallas fires their coach.
Or you go there, and because you're an amazing coach, that's what makes it a great job.
Yeah, why was the Patriots such a great job?
You should be able to go anywhere and improve the franchise.
Oh, there were problems with the Patriots, Fred.
Okay, well, then he's contradicting himself.
No, listen to Lombardi. He knows.
The NFL's not good enough for Bill Belichick is what he's saying.
I know way more about this.
Yeah, you know. Oh, boy, I don't know what Bill does for him. This is the way Bill talks to Jordan, probably. Very fawning.
Now today, there's layers upon layers. There's sons of owners who run the analytical department, and you look at what the University of North Carolina has to offer. It certainly could make sense. I mean, but I think from the outside, knowing Bill, knowing his love of coaching, he's been around the University of Washington's program with his son Stephen out there and his relationship with Jed Fish.
Wow, this is really inside stuff. Thank you for breaking this down on your Nothing podcast.
I'm learning a lot. I don't know about you.
What did you know? His son was over there in Washington?
No, didn't know that until right now.
I thought he's with a big school, Washington.
Really?
Yeah, Washington. Who I believe I saw had like the 5th best recruiting class or something. It's a real little program.
Oh my goodness!
Buried over there in Seattle.
If there's a program smart enough to
just how I would have phrased it.
Anyone who doesn't hire him and give them all the money is dumb. So if someone's smart enough not to be dumb.
So NFL, dumb. College programs, done. Belichick, smart.
Well, North Carolina might be smart enough.
When do you think is the last time Lombardi talked to Bill Belichick? I think it's been a long time. Why wasn't he?
That would make it much more pathetic.
Why wasn't he at the National Science Museum on the date with Bill?
Why wasn't he in the corn maze?
Exactly.
Could have given Bill directions.
If there's a program smart enough to be willing to make a phone call, like North Carolina obviously was, then I think it's something that he would listen to. Look, the world is changing. And the main question most people would want to know is, would you give up chasing Don Shula's record to go to college? And if you ask that question, you really don't know who Bill Belichick is.
See, he knows.
That's right.
Why?
Because Belichick's about coaching. He's not about, I'm chasing a record.
Yeah.
He's not about getting wins.
No.
It's just about coaching.
No. It's just about coaching.
It's about
in
the
general.
process, man.
Well, he could coach in the NFL. Hey, idiot. Coaching for the wins record is coaching, stupid. So so he'd take the North Carolina job over an NFL job because North Carolina's such a great program?
It's all about coaching.
It's like Notre Dame.
That's right.
You'd be like, all right, yeah, I get it.
Or
Navy, which he stolen valors all the time. If you love Navy so much, go and insist and coach the Navy defense.
That's right. So you go anywhere. He'd go anywhere.
Yeah,
He'd go to any NFL team that would offer
Coach
him a job.
Everett High.
Yep.
North Carolina is the best program, Fred. I mean,
the world is changing.
Right.
All right. Listen, I want to finish this, and then we have around the NFL. We have a lot of stuff, but I do want to finish this because
let's continue with this.
Obviously, his non-relationship with Bill and having no insight is fascinating to me. He just says things like if you don't think, do you know Bill's the kind of guy that won 6 Super Bowls as a head coach? I don't know if you know him.
You really don't know who Bill Belichick is.
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine if he hasn't talked to Bill in about 3 years, how pathetic his life would have been?
Well, I know how pathetic it is. You know how pathetic it is? There's teenagers doing this that have as many effing listeners as he does. He's just out there.
Dumbest narrative.
The nicest thing we've ever done for this idiot is play his nothing podcast. I don't even know how Ryan found it. I mean, he's real conqueror of media with all his experience. He's really turned that in. What he is he's an object of ridicule for people to make fun of.
This is unbelievable.
He goes on other people's shows and acts like an idiot blowhard and then gets made fun of. That's his career now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you big idiot. But every other jackass that's ever been involved in football's got a national gig, but you, stupid.
This is a comedy.
Yeah. Well, a big, dumb idiot that thinks he's smart. That's what we need. With no sense of humor and not an ounce of self-deprecation. And a big ball washer. That's it, you scum. Boy, do I hate him. All right.
This is
I really do. I
unbelievable.
really hate him. I
I'm
really
getting
do.
that.
Well, the
I
way
am.
he traded Felger and Maz, I just hate him. I hate people like that. He's like Jim Gray. And they all seem to be around some patriot. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
The Major League Baseball winter meetings got underway last night in Dallas with a bang. Juan Soto has agreed to a 15-year, $765 million contract with the New York Mets. There are escalators in the final 10 seasons that would make the total value worth over $800 million. Mass Live is reporting the Red Sox were a finalist, but their final offer was for 15 years and $700 million. As for the Patriots, they're finishing up their bye week. They visit Arizona this coming Sunday. Arizona fell to 6-7. They lost at home to Seattle yesterday, 30-18. Bruins and Celtics had yesterday off. The Bruins will be in Winnipeg tomorrow night to kick off a 5-game road trip. The Celtics' next game isn't until Thursday night at home when they play Detroit. In college football news, Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, and Arizona State have first-round byes in the first-ever 12-team playoff bracket. SMU made the field. Alabama did not. Boston College finished 7-5. They'll play 6-6 Nebraska in the Pinstripe Bowl on January 28th at Yankee Stadium. As for the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, that takes place on the 28th of December as well. It'll be Connecticut against North Carolina. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Sylvan Street Grill's annual holiday gift card sale. Get 20% off all gift card purchases now through Tuesday, December 10th at the Sylvan Street Grill in Peabody and Salisbury. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.
The right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Dutcher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, and you can watch us live. There's a big interactive chat going on where some of the people end up hanging out together. And then the station's got Joe Murray's on live on YouTube, and then it's all up there all the time. It's archived for you, except for the stuff that's going to get you guys in hot Water.
I didn't have to poke him that time. That was good.
I
What's
call it-
getting you in hot water?
I don't know. Anything that doesn't involve a stick or a ball.
So you're saying stick to sports, boss?
Pitfalls and bear traps abound.
It is like a kitchen littered with banana peels for you to comedically slip on into my lap. All right, very good. Mike Lombardi is a real dummy, and his trade is kissing Belichick's ass. That's why people have him on. That's why Mad Dog has him on, is to coax him into kissing Belichick's ass so he can be ridiculed. I mean, and he doesn't realize it, and he continues to be arrogant. He's like the perfect comedic foil. If you were writing a comedy script, this is what you would want. A super arrogant buffoon that you can just keep bringing in and like get him to go in and then turn around and make fun of to your friends. Like that's what he's a buffoon to be made fun of. He's no different than like Beetlejuice. Since I'm doing Stern voices. Mm-hmm. Like Beetlejuice would say he's going to kick your ass. He was smarter than you, and then you'd ask him to spell red, and he'd say ZTVVZ. Mike Lombardi is the sports version of Beetlejuice.
That's the dumbest narrative.
Yeah, you can get them all riled up and act all dumb, and then you turn around and all laugh, and everyone who's listening is laughing, and he thinks everyone thinks he's smart.
This is a comedy.
Yeah. Yes, it is, and you're the punchline.
Oh, my goodness.
No one tell him this either, because this is really good.
Too much content for us. So he's on the Lombardi line.
Yeah,
he's on with the Dave Ross, and they're talking about Belichick interviewing for the head coaching job at North Carolina.
I'll just, without interruption, play the first minute in case you weren't listening when we were just playing it.
Bill has always been somebody who loves coaching, right? And I think the way college football has changed dramatically. I think Bill's been in that environment for his whole life, pro football. When you look over the landscape of the NFL, I think the question mark really becomes, where are the great jobs? Now today, there's layers upon layers. There's sons of owners who run the analytical department, and you look at what the University of North Carolina has to offer. It certainly could make sense. I mean, but I think from the outside, knowing Bill, knowing his love of coaching, he's been around the University of Washington's program with his son Stephen out there and his relationship with Jed Fish. If there's a program smart enough to be willing to make a phone call, like North Carolina obviously was, then I think it's something that he would listen to. Look, the world is changing. And the main question most people would want to know is, would you give up chasing Don Shula's record to go to college? And if you ask that question, you really don't know who Bill Belichick is.
Okay, so he does. Now, here's what we've learned in the last minute. This is the kind of insight with this intimate relationship he has with Bill Belichick. We've learned Bill Belichick loves coaching. Okay? Mm-hmm. We've learned that the NFL has changed. You have so the jobs aren't so great. You have the sons of owners running analytics, unlike the sons of coaches running defenses or being the secondary coach without having any secondary experience and literally coming into a meeting and turning to Devin McCourty and saying, "Can you help me? I don't know what I'm doing."
Right.
So you have that. And then we've learned about his son. Did you know that his son was involved with the University of Washington program? So these are the things that Mike Lombardi brings to the table.
This is the insight that he has.
Yeah, I'm glad I listened.
There's obviously he's really in the trenches with Bill Belichick.
You really don't know who Bill Belichick is.
Yeah, and I would contend that you don't either. I would contend that you don't talk to him.
Because Belichick's about coaching. He's not about, I'm chasing a record. And I don't want to speak for him, but I think the biggest mistake we all make in our careers is we think something's going to change where we are. I think the last 2 years in New England were really hard for him. And I think...
Really? Is that right?
What was going to change? You controlled everything. Yeah, the last 2 years were in New England were hard for him because he was a failure.
See, this is another nugget of information I was unaware of.
Yeah, like when he failed and brought in players that sucked and couldn't coach them properly, yes, it was bad.
It was very hard for him.
He didn't like winning 4 games and losing
Well,
to
he
the
had
Jets.
all those players forced upon him in the draft.
No. He controlled everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except when it went wrong.
Well, it was his GM that was making moves outside of the draft.
That was him too. Except for when they made a bad pick, which is that's when Kraft came in and made him do it. When it was something that didn't work, except like a Mac Jones was Kraft, as was Tyquan Thornton, as was oh God, who was the safety they took in the second round?
Tavon Wilson?
Tavon Wilson.
That's the guy who wasn't on anybody's draft board.
As was the guard that they took that's hurt all the time.
Cole Strange.
Cole Strange. As is everyone. It was everyone that was Kraft coming in and telling him to do it. Things changed. Yes, it was hard on Bill to get fired.
The kicker and the punter he drafted, the kicker who he had to cut because of the tattoo about a month later.
But meanwhile, everyone's got a dossier on everyone, and Aaron Hernandez, who killed guys, had gang tattoos that you should have been aware of. You didn't even look at the white power stuff that kicker had.
To be honest, Rohrwasser came into his interview wearing long sleeves, so he didn't have time.
Right.
Yeah.
There was no way to get a read on him, and there was no way to find a kicker without drafting one.
I think the last 2 years in New England were really hard for him. And I think because of the changes that were going on internally within their organization that were kind of deviating from what they had done when they won 6 Super Bowls. When you go to college or if you're going to a pro team, you run your program. I've said this for years now, and I've said this to other people. Some colleges are better than pro jobs. I don't think there's any question about that in my mind.
Yeah, North Carolina for one. That's better than any pro job.
Yeah.
Because think of all the titles that North Carolina has. It's a blue blood program. I mean, it's football first. You think about it. When you think of North Carolina, you think of...
Well, you just think of the movies and the TV shows that have been made about North Carolina football.
Well, win one for the Gipper is the famous line about that.
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, I mean, it's every kid's dream in the South to go play for North Carolina. Absolutely.
There's never been any great athlete outside of football that's gone to North Carolina.
No.
No. Can't think of any.
No.
Because the coach runs the program.
As opposed in New England, when he was consistently being undermined.
It's unbelievable that he says thing after thing after thing that are just riddled with holes and illogic where, like, what are you talking about?
No, Bill ran everything.
What are you talking about?
Here's what the Lombardi's theory is, and just think of how dumb this is, whatever you think of the Crafts. Belichick ran everything when they were winning Super Bowls. Then the Kraft stepped in and said, no, stop that. And then he started losing. As if the Krafts went, we've been hands off this whole time. You've been winning all these Super Bowls. We're on TV. We're all famous. They're showing us on TV. We have all these national games. It's too much of this. Now we're going to start getting involved. No, they got involved when you started to suck. And it became obvious that you had no idea what you're doing in terms of personnel. And I would have to imagine, incredibly difficult to deal with. Unless you have a knowledge of philosophy. Then you're a real treat. And you'll dress up like a fisherman with a big old pipe.
And so now in pro football, there's so much interference. It's one thing to have a Senate and a Congress.
Yeah, you know what? In football, there's so much, unlike, like an Alabama job where there's no one pulling at you. Yeah, you should talk to Nick Saban. I bet when Nick Saban took the Alabama job, there was no good old boy boosters that control the program, and especially now with NIL money, this guy.
It's a one-man show.
It's a one-man show.
It's clear.
There's with these programs, there's no pressure.
You don't have Dave Portnoy out there handing over $10 million to a quarterback to go play at his alma mater.
I mean, if this guy couldn't be more of a buffoon. By the way, this guy his kid works for the 49ers. And this moron has been on Mad Dog twice. Once been totally unaware of McCaffrey's injury. And the second one, Mad Dog had to correct him because he couldn't figure out why the 49ers line moved when Brock Purdy was hurt. This is a guy who's going on to talk about the NFL as an insider, and he doesn't know what Joe Blow in the car knows about that has a phone, you moron. I mean, it's literally going to any sports site, and the number one story is Brock Purdy's hurt. And this idiot doesn't even have – he's so lazy that he doesn't even know going into a national interview. And then he got mad at Mad Dog because he doesn't know what else to do because he's been embarrassed.
My goodness.
Instead of taking the hit and going like, oh, geez, man. Oh, man, I should have really looked at something. And then you would go, you know what? I like that guy. Like, he's admitting that he's, like, screwed up. Like, what a fun guy. No. You got, like, all defensive like an idiot, like a big moron.
You know, it's one thing to have a Senate and a Congress. You know, we don't seem to get a lot done because of it. But you have to have.
That's his take on the current political climate. If we got to get more done, Lombardi doesn't like what's happening in Washington.
But like
he's like Malcolm X.
He ties it all together. Listen, it's one thing to have a Senate and a Congress. They don't get a lot done, but
you have to have some form of debate, but you also have some way to make a decision. Bill, I've always said this about Belichick. He's one of the greatest secret holders of all time. If you tell him a secret, it ain't getting out. Now, I don't know how this got out, right? I'm sure it came from somebody from Carolina.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
That's right. My guy's loyal. All of his guys are loyal. There's no way anyone in the Belichick clan cracked. Not a chance.
Is he being serious?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so
that was Fred backing away from the microphone for a second.
Oh my God, this guy. Boy, is he dumb. If I'm Belichick, I'm like, dude, stop talking about me. So North Carolina said this. We really want Bill Belichick. This is like going to be we're swinging for the fences. This is our dream. Say it is. Say right. Like This is it. What we're going to do is we know he's not going to want this out. We'll talk to him and then announce to everybody that this has happened. And you know what? We have direct access to Adam Schefter and guys like that. I know it was the University of North Carolina paper or whatever, like some local yokel that broke it. But it got verified immediately by Breer and Schefter and all those guys. And that came right from the North Carolina who interviewed him and wanted him so bad that that Belichick has no reason to get this out there. Belichick, who's been at Philadelphia Eagle games, walking around with Patricia, his crony, while Patricia holds his flask and kissing the owner's ass, while he's been doing media by all accounts to keep his name out there, while he's been bad-mouthing every organization that he feels wronged him, while he's out there doing all of this. That he's a real secret holder. He didn't want anyone to know he interviewed for a job. F you, Lombardi. I mean, do you realize that everyone knows you're an idiot?
He's one of the greatest secret holders of all time.
And that's great for me too. Is what I want. That's what I want out of a guy too. A guy who will tell me nothing and is not forthright at all. That's what I want for my program or my team.
I don't want to speak for him.
He really said the NFL has changed as if Bill Belichick is too good for the NFL now.
The world is changing.
He coaches football. Okay? He's too good for football? Have him coach cheerleading. That's what he should do.
What gave you that idea?
Oh, his 24-year-old girlfriend who he's a simp for. He's simping. And by the way, there was an article. He went to a big gala with his girlfriend, and he was referred to as publication as a simp, that he was simping for her. Huh. So I am not the only one who has said this. So good for you, Jordan.
This is amazing.
Now it's in international press how you have this man simping for you as you are 24. In the most beautiful woman in the world. No question about it. All right, listen. Around the NFL is coming up, and I'm sorry that we do not have the knowledge of Mike Lombardi and the institutional knowledge of all the things that he knows. Bill Belichick keeps secrets.
You really don't know who Bill Belichick is.
He's been around the Washington program, and he likes to coach.
He's got 6 Super Bowl trophies on his mantle.
That's another thing that none of us are aware of.
Thank God he's around to let us know these things.
Just Johnny Lunch Pail at the water cooler, just yapping without any knowledge. When Mike Lombardi's out there with so much we don't know. Oof. If I'm Belichick, I wouldn't want that guy speaking for me. I really wouldn't. I would not. He's an idiot. A real idiot. And I don't think anyone disagrees with me.
That's the dumbest narrative.
No, you're the dumbest. God, that bothers me.
This is unbelievable.
Because everyone's got people like that in their life that think they're so smart and never, ever admit that they're wrong or say that anything, and just, you're like, you dummy.
If there's a program smart enough,
everyone does dumb stuff, and everyone's got dumb people, and people do things that you don't like, and that's just going to happen. But the reason you like people is because they're like, oh man, that's on me, or like they kind of make fun of themselves, not sitting there being dumb and thinking they're smart. Like he's like shilling these idiots and they always get themselves in trouble because they're always thinking they're smarter than they am. And I'll tell you what, if I had a cold call list, this is the first guy I'm calling. Oh, yeah, you got it. What's this? So this king of Somalia, he wants what? I give him $10,000. He turns around because he doesn't want to deal with U.S. banks. He turns around because it's me. It's $400% return he's giving me. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Here's my bank information. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with Around the NFL.
Stay tuned.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
On the Sports Hub.
Around the NFL with Toucher and Hardy.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
All right, it was a bye week for your New England Patriots. So here on Toucher and Hardy, everyone hopefully got a chance to watch some teams they normally have missed out on. It wasn't the world's greatest week of NFL, but there were some good ones, including, if you like low-scoring affairs, and teams that just keep kind of winning.
Yeah,
that was the case last night.
Great example with the Chiefs and Chargers, as the Chargers opted for a field goal late, giving the Chiefs the ball back, and the Chiefs did what they've been doing all season long.
Mahomes under center, takes the snap. He's back. He's rolling to his right. He's looking. He pumps. He's going to pull the football down. Now throws, and it's caught by Kelsey on a knee with the first down at the 11. First down for the Chiefs.
That was in the fourth quarter, which brings on Harrison Butker to try and win the... Oh, no, excuse me.
No.
Not Harrison Butker.
No.
This is their third kicker now?
Matthew Wright is his man's name.
Matthew Wright.
Yeah.
This is for the division, for the Chiefs. And right off the upright and in for the division. It's the doink for the division for the Chiefs. Oh, my goodness.
Off the
How
left,
many
up
of these
right.
can they get away with?
How
many of these can they get away with it?
17.
My thing is this. You're on the road. Why are you kicking that field goal if you're the Chargers? What was the down and distance on that on the fourth down? Does anyone know?
I can look it up real quick.
Because if it was fourth and anything less than 5, I'm going for it. I'm not kicking the field goal and giving them the ball back, or I'm doing something to bleed the clock. I didn't see the end of the game.
37-yard field goals, so they were at the 20.
Yeah, I don't know. It's down in distance.
Fourth and 11.
Okay, so fine.
Fourth and 11 at the 19.
All right, so you can't. So fair enough. I told you I didn't see the end of the game. So there you go. If you give Patrick Mahomes, and that's, boy, this is going to sound dumb, but I've had this conversation with a bunch of people. Like, it's just the difference of winning and losing in the NFL. Like, games are not blowouts, right? Like, they're always within a touchdown. If you go around and you just look at games in general, they're usually within a touchdown. And the difference of winning and losing, not so much this last weekend, but the difference of winning and losing comes down to, we're not going to do the game, but the Giants Saints, like, it comes down to a blocked field goal. It comes down to these, to knowing how to win. Go ahead.
But for Kansas City, I mean, they have 12 wins this season. Their wins have been by 7, 1, 5, 7. The outlier is against New Orleans. They won that one by 13. But then they beat San Francisco by 10, 7, overtime win, a touchdown against Tampa Bay. Then the last 4 wins, 2, 3, 2, and 2 points.
And that's my point, is that it's the NFL is so there's so much parity now, and I know there's not with record, but like these teams, there is something to be saying just having a quarterback that knows how to win at the end. And you saw it with New England. How many times did Brady, like, you can't give him the ball back? You can give, 30 teams the ball back. You kick the field goal, and you know your defense is going to stop a guy. But Patrick Mahomes, you knew that they were going to win that game. I guarantee if you were watching that game, the announcer was saying, like, all right, well, you just gave the ball back. You know what's going to happen, and then it happens. It's quite amazing.
But this, I haven't looked, but this has got to be unprecedented. I mean, the last 4 wins by a combined total of 9 points, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and watch him go to the Super Bowl.
So Andy Reid says, no, it's really no big deal when you just trust your kicker, old what's-his-name. It's not Butker, who had the knee injury back in Week 11. It's not Schrader, who also...
That's right, Spencer Schrader. They
Spencer
had him
Schrader
in. That's right.
had him in for
Schrader was the guy who left the Jets.
Yes,
yeah,
off the practice squad.
That's right. We trusted old what's-his-name.
I've trusted Matthew, so I was good with where we were.
What's his last name?
Where percentages are pretty high. I know we've
we've won a game in that same situation on the opposite end. So I get it, but he's a solid kicker, so I wasn't too worried about it.
Okay.
Solid kicker.
Yeah, I mean,
Doinked it off the left.
the problem with Andy Reid can't keep a secret, unlike Belichick.
Matthew Wright's 4th team in the last 3 years. Yeah,
He's one of the greatest secret holders of all time.
Yeah,
that's right. All right, let's go to the Rams.
What
game.
did you tell him, Lombardi, that he kept as a secret? Like, what sins have you committed that you're so proud of him for keeping the secrets
This
about?
is unbelievable.
Like, what does he have, like a list of names of, mass murderers that he's keeping under his hat? What the hell are you, Lombardi, what have you done in your life that you've entrusted this man? It's starting to come out while you're kissing his ass so much. You obviously dumbed into something. Like, you killed a family or something in your car and he, helped you hide it. All right, go ahead. What's the next game? I saw the next game. The next game I watched.
Yeah, I think we all watched this one.
Game of the year.
Yeah, in L.A., Rams hosting the Buffalo Bills. Tom Brady on the call.
Stafford, play fake, looking, launching. There it is. Oh, did he stay in? Oh, he did! How on earth did he catch that and stay in bounds? Puka Nacua. You got to be kidding me. Oh, my God. Insane.
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
Nakua had a couple of
He gets
amazing
better and better,
catches.
doesn't he, Brady? Week to week.
Brady
This
is
guy's going to call the Super Bowl in about a month.
Well, Adam got him sick, so I mean, you
Oh,
could
yeah.
hear him yesterday.
I was watching the game with my mom and her friend last night. He said, Brady's pretty good. And, I don't want to start a Sunday family argument, but I can't help myself. Yeah, he's all right. And then, I just keep talking, and it goes from, we can talk about this as civilized people to, no, he's not good.
Yeah.
He's just at the best I can say he's just okay. He's
Okay.
just okay at it, and it's certainly not worth $37,500,000 every year that they're paying him.
Okay. Next time you listen to Brady broadcast, have some beer next to you or a shot next to you. Everybody drink when he says A+.
I'm an alcoholic.
A+ throw. Everyone drink when he says clean pocket. Both of those phrases at least 20 times yesterday.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot to add. He still doesn't have a lot to add. But you didn't need much when you had Puka Nacua doing things up and down the field and late in the game yesterday.
Stafford from the shotgun, looking left, throws right, receiver screen, caught, blocked, touchdown, Puka Nacua! Touchdown, LA! With 1:54 remaining, a receiver screen for a 2-possession lead over the Buffalo Bills.
Bills would go on to lose 44-42, however, and Sean McVay had some choice words about Josh Allen afterward.
Throughout the course of that game, but that's an excellent team. I mean, you see Josh Allen is an alien. Some of the stuff that he can do and the things that he can create, we knew he was capable of that. He's shown that. It's why he is, as well respected and regarded in this league as he is. It's all deserved and earned.
Currently the favorite to be the NFL MVP. 3 touchdown passes, 3 touchdown runs yesterday.
And as we discussed earlier, 86 points with no turnovers yesterday. There was one blocked. What was it, John? The blocked.
What am I missing?
Oh, it was an extra point was missed.
The extra point was missed. That was okay.
By the way, Josh
There's some
Allen.
weird kicking yesterday.
Yeah.
Man.
You mentioned Josh Allen.
Yes.
I believe I saw something that Josh Allen had the highest fantasy total in the history of fantasy football.
Yesterday's game?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Is that his score was the highest. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, like you said, 3 passing touchdowns. He passed for 342 yards. He ran for 82 yards.
Yeah.
The belief, I believe, was that it was 50-some-odd points that he had in fantasy.
Yeah, Vic, I think, had the record or something like that. He had a similar on a Monday night, I remember, a long time ago. But, yeah, that's got to be up there.
Josh Allen should be MVP. I don't have any problem with that. Certainly over Saquon Barkley.
He's the betting favorite right now over Saquon. I think Josh Allen's plus 150 at this point.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He should be MVP, and if the Bills and Chiefs square off in the AFC Championship, it's hard to imagine the Bills losing a game like the to the Chiefs and the way the Chiefs have been winning. It's hard for me to picture a way that the Bills lose 19-17.
It's going to be in Kansas City.
And I'd say that's probably true if they hadn't won 11 games like that already.
I know.
Yeah, and it's going to be in Kansas City. And they're going to get that bye. and they're gonna
Be rested, yeah.
and they're gonna be the team with the bye. Like whatever, these wins end up meaning something. They got a 2-game cushion on Buffalo, and I don't even know who has the tiebreaker, and that's without the tiebreaker.
Isn't it interesting, though, that Buffalo is supposed to take a step back this year? They lost a lot of guys. Milano was hurt. They got rid of Stephon Diggs. I mean, I know I was talking about them possibly finishing third in the division before the season started.
Oh, I thought they were going to finish third in the division, too, because I listened to everybody that's an expert, and they all said that.
Yeah, the Jets in Miami are going to be good this year.
The Jets have this all-world lineup, and Aaron Rodgers is the greatest. And Miami
look at this.
is when they're healthy, their offense is unstoppable. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a credit to Josh Allen, and it's a credit to their coach. I mean, I always thought they had a mediocre coach, but it turns out that maybe not. But let's see what they do in the playoffs.
Bills score 42 points, none of those points off of turnovers. Again, so 42 points on offense, and their time of possession was 21-30. So that's a team that can just put up points, and I can't figure out a way to like Kansas City in a matchup over Buffalo.
But the thing about Buffalo is that, say it's 3rd and 9, and Allen drops back, and you go into like zone coverage, right? And he can't find anyone. Well, now you're in zone coverage, so he's just going to run. And he's going to run, and then you're going to have a corner come up and try to tackle him, and he's going to run him over.
Even worse if you're in man coverage. No spy can stay with that guy, and all
But
the
man,
DBs
at
are
least
running.
you have people around. Like zone, when everyone drops back, he just goes into that. And then if you're in man, he's going to pick you apart throwing the ball. So, yeah, very difficult to stop. I don't know how you scheme it up. I don't know how you do it. But there you go.
All right, let's go to the Carolina-Philadelphia Eagles game, where I'm sure you saw the story. A $3 million wager was placed on Philadelphia to win the game outright, yes. A bettor somewhere down south through the Circus Sportsbook placed a $3 million money line wager on Philadelphia.
Paid $400.
$400,000 and change. So I'm going to risk $3 million to win $444,000, and things were not looking good. Panthers had a 10-7 lead, close to the end of the first half. The Eagles would take the lead before half, but Panthers did not go away.
Bryce under center, Hubbard, the single back. Snap, handoff, Chuba into the end zone for a Carolina touchdown, and the Panthers have a 16-14 lead.
It was coming down to the wire, too.
Panthers lead 16-14. Eagles 4 for 8 on third down conversion. A yard away from an all-time record. Eagles record. Hurts in the gun. Barkley to his right. Hurts takes the snap. He's back. He's looking. He's still looking. He fires. Complete. Touchdown. Grant Calcaterra.
Who is that, John?
That's Merrill Reese.
Oh,
Merrill
okay.
Reese, who's been the Philadelphia Eagles play-by-play guy since the world was flat.
Yeah.
There's no worse play-by-play guy in football than whoever does the Dolphins game. I was driving around listening to that in the car for a little while.
Cephalo, or is he the commentary guy?
I think Cephalo might be dead.
Oh, is that right?
But if Cephalo wasn't, I don't know who it is, to be honest with you. But they don't say what's going on. It's really something else. Like there's plays, and you can hear cadence, and you can hear hitting from the field mic.
Yeah.
And they're just not talking. They're just not saying anything. It's quite amazing.
It's Cephalo.
Yeah,
We'll get to the Jets-Dolphins game here in a moment.
By the way, A.J. Brown, after the game, do you have that? Here we go. After a win.
What are some things you think that the offense needs to improve on? Passing.
How hard is it as a receiver to get into a rhythm when you guys are only throwing the ball 20 times?
Incredibly tough. What are the conversations like with Jalen during a game like this, when maybe the passing game isn't everything you want it to be?
Not too much conversation, honestly.
Yeah.
Remember when the Eagles were thinking about trading that guy?
Yeah, I'll tell you this, is that there was talk about Sirianni and Jalen Hurts not being able to communicate, and all the blame went on Sirianni, who I understand seems like a dick. But there were problems in that locker room, and now A.J. Brown is coming after Jalen Hurts. I'm wondering if Jalen Hurts is the problem. And I'm wondering if I'm Detroit, if I'm overly concerned about having to go to Philadelphia.
That running game's tough to stop. I mean, A.J. Brown, you can say what you want about him, but he's a top 5 receiver in this league.
Okay, so Detroit plays Carolina. What's the score? Just on a trap game, throwaway game, Detroit plays Carolina next weekend. What's the score?
Just
plays them at home. Because that was Carolina at Philadelphia. It's Detroit at home against Carolina this week.
10-point spread, at least.
That's the final is 38-13.
Yes. It ain't 20. They're not scoring 22 points against Carolina. I got news for you.
By the way, Bryce Young, I saw some of this game. Bryce Young, not bad.
No, Bryce Young looks all right.
He's found himself here the last couple of weeks.
Because, I mean, this is going to be the new thing is that, like, if the kid's having problems, sit him down for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
You know, they let him know they weren't going to trade him.
It worked.
Sit him down, take a little bit of the pressure off, let him watch from the sidelines. That used to be unthinkable. But now, would you trade Bryce Young if you're them?
No.
Because would you trade Bryce Young? And one of these guys might pop, but just from our little knowledge of what's going on, and we'll talk to Dane Brugler in a minute here about what's going on with the draft. But based on this draft, I'd keep my hands on Bryce Young.
He has looked much better, and if you're Carolina, Dave Canales, I think, is the head coach there. You see what they saw when they drafted him number 1 overall. He's not even close to being there yet, but he's far better than he was before.
The thing that I noticed him, and again, getting a chance to watch a lot of that game and other games yesterday, the way he carries himself through good plays and bad. He's got a great
Much
demeanor.
different guy.
He's got a great demeanor on the field, and he's got the right amount of intensity. You can see him like laughing about plays that don't work out and ones that do work out. It was fun to watch him yesterday.
Well, it must take a lot. It's going to take a lot of pressure off these kids if they start starting and they have a problem and they're able to take a couple weeks off. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with more around the NFL. Then we will talk to Dane Brugler about his mock draft in the Athletic and where your Patriots stand right now. And that we will be right back.
Sports Hub headlines.
Major League Baseball front and center this morning. Juan Soto has agreed to the biggest contract in pro sports history. The New York Mets signed him to a 15-year, $765 million.
Hey, Dane Brugler is going to be joining us, Toucher and Hardy, coming up at 9 o'clock to talk about the draft. He's got his first mock draft out. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And be listening at the end of this segment, for your chance to score a $100 gift card for Arcadia Professional Body Piercing, offering an incredible selection of jewelry from implant-grade titanium to 14 and 18 karat solid gold with puppet. With 14 and 18 karat solid gold with genuine gemstones. Gift cards are available for the holidays and available online at ArcadiaBodyPiercing.com. It's funny, I told my daughter, who's 14, she's like, I want the piercing at the top of my ear. And I said, why don't you get your nose pierced? Because I think a pierced nose is cool. I'm not so sure at the top of the ear, and that's a debate for another day. And that's also not my job as a man to make that decision. But I told her, would you let, if you had a daughter, you do, Hardy, if you had a daughter, John, and then I'll ask you, Hardy, who does have a daughter, would you let them get their nose pierced? Hardy doesn't have a say in it anymore because she's 18. But would you have let her as a minor get her nose pierced?
As a minor, probably not.
No.
See, I think it would be cool. I encourage her to get it. I think it's cooler than having the thing at the top of your ear. What do I know? And it's not my decision. It's not my body.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. What do we got? What else happened yesterday? What'd you watch?
Your precious Jets played the Dolphins yesterday.
Yeah, baby.
Rodgers rolls out to his right, throws right. Devontae Adams makes the catch inside the right pylon. That's a Jet touchdown. The Jets have the lead back as they strike for 6.
Yeah, they did. Made it 2015. No
excited.
stopping them now.
I'm excited. They have a lead.
Unless, the Dolphins score more points.
Sanders will try it from 52 yards. Snaps is down, kick is up, and he's got it. It's right down the middle. We're tied at 26 with 7 seconds left on the clock.
Now, you were listening or watching this, Brett?
Oh, I saw this part, yeah.
Okay.
I just got stats. So go ahead.
All right, you got what happened in overtime?
No, you
Tua Tagovailoa out of the shotgun, back to throw. Good protection, throws it, end zone, touchdown, Dolphins win. Jonnu Smith.
What a catch and throw, Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, and they converted 4th downs and everything else. You want to hear some things?
Sure.
Yeah.
First of all, that was a scoregami, so that's fun.
Oh, yeah.
The 1,089th unique final score.
Oh.
Would you? Hey, look. This is the Jets' 5th loss this season after holding a lead in the 4th quarter, the most in franchise history.
There's never been a 32-26. Huh?
I find that odd, too.
Yeah.
You want to hear another fun stat?
Yeah.
Longest active playoff appearances droughts for professional franchises. NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, and WNBA. The Pirates in Major League Baseball, 9 years. The Angels, Major League Baseball, 10 years.
I know Buffalo's NHL.
The Sabres, NHL, 13 years, but this is just in total. So there's 2 Major League Baseball teams and an NHL team. And the Jets at the top with 14 years since they've made the playoffs.
Well, it's not over yet. I mean, what's their record this season?
No. They've been mathematically eliminated.
Oh,
from the
because
playoffs.
they're 3-10.
You want to hear another fun stat?
With
about
Aaron Rodgers at quarterback.
Yeah, you want to hear another fun stat about he wasn't bad yesterday. You want to hear another fun stat about
He's got
yesterday's
receivers. He got a new coach. Everything should be better.
Tua Tagovailoa, or however you pronounce his name.
Nailed it.
Dropped back 47 times. The Jets did not record a single quarterback hit.
I saw that one.
But, Ulbrich after the game, who is going to be he's fighting for his job as the Jets head coach. He, after the game, was asked about it, and he said, Tua gets rid of the ball lickety-split. So there was no hitting him 47 times.
33 of 47 didn't get hit.
Did not get hit. Not sacked. Hit. They did not touch him, which is good for his brain, so that's good.
Aaron Rodgers was aggravated, though, after the game.
This organization now, it's 14 straight years without making the playoffs. That's almost hard to do.
What's the question?
Well, can you reflect on that and just why?
I mean, I've been here. I've started 1 year, so
Right.
I'm a part of it for 1 year. It's disappointing.
Okay, so with all the ball washing that people do for Aaron Rodgers and pontificate who he's going to play with next year, I finally heard a guy, and I don't know who he was. I wish I could give him credit, but an NFL analyst, a guy who used to play. No, he's not even a guy who used to play. He's a guy, an insider, and I forget who it was. And he's like, the league is aggravated with him, in that he's not going to play next year. It won't be. It's not up to him. and I was like, finally someone has said it. Why would you possibly want him? It's not like he's going to just sit there and, like, be a good soldier. He's a huge pain in the ass and he sucks. He was all right yesterday, but, I mean, and look, they didn't have Breece Hall and they didn't have Sauce Gardner, and it just ruined everything for them. If I'm Breece Hall and some Sauce Gardner, I'm thinking, whoopsies.
Well, Garrett Wilson.
They had 2 rookie running backs that better than Breece Hall in yesterday. Go ahead.
Garrett Wilson has identified the problem with the Jets.
Losing period sucks. When you're up in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden it starts to feel like you have a losing problem. It's like you have like a gene or something.
Please don't lose
going
him.
out there and getting our butt beat from start to finish. No, we have a chance to go win the game. We're supposed to win the game. Odds are in our favor, and we're finding a way to lose the game. So it's just frustrating for sure.
I know you guys don't watch him a lot. He's so good.
Garrett
Please-
Wilson.
Yeah, please get rid of Breece Hall. Let Sauce Gardner go. They all are overrated. The team obviously is not nearly as good as people thought. Like, it's not all Aaron Rodgers' fault. The defense kind of sucks.
Sherwood had a really good game yesterday.
Yeah, Sherwood's fine. I mean, he's not C.J. Mosley, but he's out for the year, and they're not going to keep him. But Garrett Wilson is really, really, really good.
Losing is a disease as contagious as syphilis.
I thought it was bubonic plague.
As contagious as the bubonic plague.
Syphilis, no big deal.
Let your mind wander, free on the ocean.
You eat some moldy bread, that syphilis is gone.
Gently rocking.
Gently rocking.
You could do this all day.
I could.
Yeah, I could. Me too.
Hobbs, you want to sit back down here?
You know what
I'm
movie?
not listening to this 2-bit Carney.
You know what movie we're referencing?
No.
The Natural.
It's The Natural. Come on.
What, the BBW film? The Naturals?
No, that's All Natural 6.
Yeah, you know about that. But you're not there for the Naturals. You're there for the big old BBW. You're there for the big bodacious bottom.
John Wallach, who do the Patriots have when they come off the bye?
They play Arizona. At Arizona
go.
this coming Sunday.
All right,
You got
well,
4 games left.
That Arizona, that Charbonneau kid.
You got Arizona, you got 2 against Buffalo, home and away, and you get the Chargers. Those are the last 4.
No problem.
All right, Arizona. Yeah, they lost in a. They played very poorly against
As
Seattle
of this
yesterday.
morning, the Patriots have the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft.
And the 2 teams that have the first 2 picks are quarterback needy, and so that's where they might get the best non-quarterback on the board, and that's where our friend Dane Brugler comes in. He is of the Athletic. He is I think we'd all agree, the mock draft every year, and he's got his first one out. We'll talk to him about it because that's what you should be focusing on now as a football fan. We will be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. This is off of Czarface Stress Eater with Cool Keith. Cool Keith in one of the songs bragging that they're paying him from doing it from his bedroom. He's recording. He's recording. He's crazy. Caller number 10 in the contest line, 617-931-0985, will score a $100 gift card for Arcadia Professional Body Piercing, offering an incredible selection of jewelry from implant-grade titanium to 14 and 18-karat solid gold with genuine gemstones. Gift cards are great for the holidays and available online at arcadiabodypiercing.com. Dane Brugler is a man who knows about gemstones, as he is a man of God. And he joins us now on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. He, of course, of The Athletic. He has the definitive draft guide every year. It's known as The Beast. They give you a code that you need because it cannot be contained within the digital walls of The Athletic. It needs to be downloaded.
Yes.
And he joins us. Mr. Brugler, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
We are doing well, and it's draft fever here in New England. As we look at the board now, it is lining up nicely for the Patriots as they have the third pick in the draft and two quarterback-hungry teams in Las Vegas and New York Giants are ahead of them. And, all right, let's get into it. This draft is not so good, right?
You know, it's one of those drafts where the players who are drafted top 5, I think will have a tough time living up to being top 5 picks. Just everything that comes with that. Now, I think Travis Hunter, both two-way player from Colorado, he's the best player in this draft. He has the best chance of living up to that type of weight. But the quarterbacks, if we do see a quarterback or two go in the top 5 and these other players, it's not like this draft has bad players, but relative to other drafts, it's not as top-heavy in terms of top 5, top 10 overall picks. It just puts a lot more pressure on the scouts and the front office to make sure that they get this right, because it'll be interesting to see how the draft order plays out. I mean, remember going back to last year, right around Christmas, New Year's Eve, the Cardinals were picking top 3, and then somehow they upset the Eagles. I think that was New Year's Eve, and that pushed the Patriots into the top 3 discussion and basically gift wrapped Drake May. If the Cardinals, if they lose out last year, then they pick 3rd, and it's probably the Giants trading up with the Cardinals, and they're drafting. I mean, all these different things, the domino effect from the draft order. So it'll be interesting this year where these teams end up. We know the Raiders are looking at quarterbacks. We know the Giants are desperate for a quarterback. Will they finish in the top 2 or 3, and how will that affect what the Patriots do? So when you look at the Patriots, obviously they need tackles. They need offensive line in general. They need wide receiver help. This just isn't a draft that has a Malik Neighbors, a Marvin Harrison Jr., a no doubt about it tackle in the top 5. So just a little bit more pressure on the front office to make sure they get it right.
Okay, so the Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are the 2 top quarterbacks in this draft. Let's just do this exercise for an example. It looks like last year's quarterback class was pretty good. Caleb Williams looks like, he has moments where he flashes. And Jaden Daniels and Drake May, everyone knows about. Bo Nix is, on a cusp of a playoff team. And Michael Penix is getting good reports out of Atlanta. Where would Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward be drafted if they were to be taken, if they were in last year's draft?
I think that, well, first of all, there would be no consensus in terms of where they exactly, every team would look at it a little bit differently. But I think I can say pretty confidently that none of these quarterbacks this year would have been close to the top 3 who were drafted last year, Caleb, Jaden, and Drake May. The question would have been how each team stacked these 2 guys up with J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix and Michael Penix. I think it would have been you would have got a lot of different opinions, and any type of order from that group would not have been surprising. I mean, Cam Ward, he's so exciting. The arm, the elusiveness in the pocket. his calm, cool demeanor that he plays with, the way he's gotten better and better every year in college, even though there are still some, the looseness that he plays with is a little concerning because it does lead to turnover-worthy plays, and, it's just something that he has to get better at. And then Shedeur Sanders, he's a good player. I think he's going to be an NFL starter because he's accurate, he's tough, he's poised. He just doesn't have the top-tier physical traits that a lot of teams are looking for in a top-5 pick. So it's going to be interesting when we kind of look back at this class if either of these two guys can live up to it. But, you're absolutely right. No quarterback in this class comes close to the top 3 that were drafted last year.
You said it yourself when we started this conversation. The Patriots need offensive line help. That's far and away the weakest positional group on this roster. And I have to ask you, is any tackle available in this draft worth a top 10 pick?
In this draft, yes. And that's the thing. I'm going to find myself saying those 3 words a lot in this class. Because it's like, well, in most years, maybe not. But in this class, yes. I think Will Campbell from LSU, who is the best offensive lineman in this draft, I think the question will be, do the Patriots see him as a tackle or do they see him as an interior player? The league is kind of split on that. He's been a left tackle at LSU the last 3 years. He started right away when he arrived in Baton Rouge. He's still just 20 years old. He's a young player, but he's really talented. The big question will be the arm length. It should come in right around 33 inches. So where do the Patriots see him playing at the next level? But, he's a guy athletic. The core strength stands out. Really competitive finish. So that physicality that you want is there. I think he's not going to be a bad pick. It's just you have to understand from a Patriots perspective where they want to play him and where he's going to fit best. But this is an offensive line class it's a little bit mixed. Will Campbell to me is the top player. The wild card is going to be Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State, who was trending to being OT1 in this class until he suffered a non-contact knee injury against Oregon back in October, had surgery. So his draft stock's kind of in limbo at this point. We won't really know until the combine and get a better understanding of his rehab and his recovery. But talent-wise, the movement skills, the way he was playing, the body control, the reactions, the recovery, he was playing like a guy that was going to be a top 10 pick. So he's kind of the wild card in all of this. But I think the good news for the Patriots is all the cap space they have to attack free agency like, okay, we're going to answer all of our needs in free agency. That way we can go into the draft without forcing any pick at any position. Because when you're really picking top 5, top 7, top 10, you need to draft the best player available, period, and then not put too much focus on the need. Focus on getting the best player who's going to make the greatest impact on your roster.
Yeah, and for the Patriots, Dane, and again, I'll use your phrase, in this class, let's say they do address some of those needs via free agency. What would be the safest route for them to go? Would it still be Will Campbell, or would it be somebody else if they're picking around where we think they're going to be picking?
Yeah, I think obviously Travis Hunter, I mentioned he's the best player in this draft. So I think, you add him to the mix. To me, he's an NFL corner who you can mix in on offense, give him 20 snaps a game on offense. The whole two-way player, it's going to be debated up until draft day. What is he better, offense, defense? He's going to want to play both. So that's just an interesting wrinkle for the team that drafts him. But Abdul Carter from Penn State, pass rusher, you can argue he's the second best player in this draft. He's so dang explosive. Off the ball, pursuing the football. He's not Myles Garrett in terms of size, but he's got a lot of power in his hands. So even though he's 6'3", 250, he plays powerful. He plays with a ton of force. And so I think in most years, Abdul Carter is drafted somewhere between, 7 and 15. In this draft, he might be the second best player. And, there's no such thing as having too much pass rush on your roster. And so I think for the Patriots, that could be an area where they look to upgrade and add a player like this who maybe isn't a full-time starter right away, but by the end of his rookie year, he's wrecking havoc because he has all the juice, all the tools, just needs a little bit more seasoning before he gets all the way there.
All right. Okay. So if you're a Patriot fan, are you? What are you watching? What are you excited for? Is there anything that we should be watching, or just a draft fan in general? As we get into this postseason, who should we be looking at?
As things develop, and we might actually learn something other than reading about it. People that we can actually put our eyes on here.
We are just ciphering information from you right now. Like as we are looking, if we want to look with our own eyes, who should we focus on?
Yeah, well, and that's the fun part about the college football playoffs, because we're getting extra games from a lot of these guys that maybe extra data points maybe we didn't have in past years. And so definitely, like I mentioned, Abdul Carter, Penn State might have the easiest road to the finals in this playoff, playing, just with the way things set up with them at SMU in the first round, Boise State in the second round. No offense to those two programs, but you're liking your chances if you're Penn State. So Abdul Carter will factor in big there. And then Georgia. Georgia, you could argue, is one of the best, if not the best or most talented team in the 12-team playoff. They have three defenders that might go in the top 10 this year. Malachi Starks, the safety, Jalen Walker, the linebacker / pass rusher, and then Mikael Williams, the freaky pass rusher that they have. So I would watch some of these teams in the playoffs who, just extra tape that, when the stage is the brightest, I want to see these guys show out. And even though it shouldn't matter, it should be body of work over everything else, subconsciously or consciously, teams care about the guys that step up on the big stage. And so some big opportunities for these teams.
Yeah, we obviously saw it last year. Yes, Jonathan.
One other question about the wide receivers, which is also something the Patriots desperately need. It looks like they whiffed on Jalen Polk in the second round last year. They're going to have another high second-round pick again, and it's assuming they don't go wide receiver with that high first-round pick. Who are some of the receivers that we should be looking at?
Watching Ohio State, Emeka Egbuka, number 2. He's a guy that might not be amazing at any one thing, but he's above average across the board. He's 6'1", 205, going to run the 4.4s, strong hands, can line up inside, outside, really good route runner, has a little bit after the catch. He's a reliable player, and I think that's exactly what you're looking to add for a young quarterback like Drake May, someone that you can trust in any of those situations. If you're looking for more of a big play type of guy, someone that's going to add a little bit more explosiveness to your offense, then you're looking at Evan Stewart from Oregon, Isaiah Bond from Texas, two guys that we'll see in the playoffs, a chance to, maybe help themselves with their draft projection. They can win vertically. They have that explosive speed that really changes things, changes the way you defend them. So watch those three players as possibilities in that second round.
All right. Well, listen, Dane Brugler, if you would be so kind as to join us again as this process unfolds. I'm a Jet fan, so I'm an expert at reading reading people like you. I'm an expert on that. I'm not an expert in the draft by any means, but I am familiar with it mattering. And then you hit on the draft, and you go on to win 3 games so far this season. All right, well, Dane Brugler, thank you. Read him in The Athletic. He's the best at it. He's the definitive source on everything NFL draft in the NFL. Thank you so much for the time, sir.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
All right, we appreciate it. He is the guy. I'm not just kissing his ass.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. Why would I?
Yeah. You want to know what a prospect's nickname was when he was 12? You can find out from this draft guide he puts out every April.
Yeah. Dane Brugler, the Beast. And it is funny because if you subscribe to The Athletic, it's not like just something that you can click on. It's you click on it and they give you a password, and then you got to use the password because it's this PDF file.
You got to download the thing. And by the way, it doesn't come to you just like that. It takes a couple seconds to download this thing.
What are you on, a Commodore 64?
Yeah, I am.
I'm wheeling it. I got Wi-Fi.
Wow.
Where?
It's a wireless connection to the internet.
Not at home, you don't. Here you do, but not at home.
Well, in my bedroom, I got to take the phone and put it in the thing.
All right.
Yeah, but downstairs, the whole thing's hands free. I can walk around.
You stealing it from the neighbors? Shh. Okay.
I got enough problems with them.
I bet.
Yeah, they're always like, why you always fixing furniture in your bedroom? And I'm like, that's cute. I'm out there laying pipe.
Okay.
What? I'm fixing the plumbing. No, that's not the sound. That's sawing wood. Sound like.
You just made Hardy a little uncomfortable there.
Oh, Jesus.
I
Yeah,
did love
right.
it.
Oh, stop it. I can tell stupid jokes. All right, look it. We will be right back. We are not going to do our world-famous email segment.
What?
No, we're going to do something about Juan Soto. John Heyman, who is a nice enough guy, but incredibly boring on the air. He went on a podcast that exists for no reason and got upset. So that's fun to listen to. We will have that for you in just a moment.
hear more music in the morning?
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and Juan Soto has signed with the New York Mets for over $700 million. It's $700 million, and then he can go up to $800 million, right? If he doesn't.
See, it's $765 with escalators to add another $40 million onto it.
Yeah. And so the deal is that for the rest of the day, you might hear people calling in to bitch about the Red Sox and how they were faking being involved in the process, which I don't know what the advantage is, because you or I, and you being the listener and I being me, are not buying tickets based on the alleged pursuit of Juan Soto. That's not going to affect Gate.
And I'm reading Ken Rosenthal's. He's got a whole story up this morning at The Athletic about how this all happened. And the Red Sox were in it. They thought they were in it. And then Saturday afternoon, they kind of realized after a video conference meeting with Boris that they probably weren't going to be in it. The Dodgers tapped out at $600 million, so it came down to the Yankees and the Mets last night.
And Soto took legit just like, what, how much more?
It was 15 years, 760 for the Mets, and I think it was 16 years, 765 or something like that for the Yankees. Yankees offered longer term but less annual average value.
Yeah, and so he just went legit, just said, I don't care that the Yankees are a better organization, and I've already played here, and I'm comfortable.
Give me $51 million a year.
And so I would imagine Rosenthal would tell you, if you talk to him, that he was going to the Mets no matter what, because it came down to just money, literally just money, and there was no way, for whatever reason that I still have not been explained to me properly, why Cohen, the owner of the Mets, has this budget that these other billionaires don't have, but it's great for baseball. Again, if you're baseball, you want pitch clock, and you want only 3 teams competing for titles. And as I explained before, what does Major League Baseball want? They want to make that like starter rule, which makes sense, where you have these starters and they have to go a certain amount of length of the game, because you want great starters facing great batters in those matchups, and there's no starting pitchers anymore. Well, okay, here's the league. If I'm Cleveland, I can't get anybody, so what am I going to do? Again, I'm going to – and also, they don't want guys just hauling back and relying on velocity because they hurt their arms. They want to develop stars and guys that have control and that can pitch, and it's an art of pitching. Well, Cleveland can't do that. So if I'm Cleveland, I'm going to sign – a whole bullpen full of $3 million guys that can throw 100 miles an hour, and I'm trotting a different one out every inning. And as Hardy astutely observed, when you do that, what happens? No one knows anyone on that team.
Right, because they're gone.
You know one guy on Cleveland, and then you don't know that bullpen. I mean, you don't know a middle reliever on the effing Cleveland Indians. And then, well, what about Tampa, Fred? What about Tampa? Tampa's so great they can't get a stadium built. And second of all, they're everything that's wrong, too. No one wants to see an opener. Like, someone had to invent, we're crappy. How are we going to compete in this game? And it's done everything the game is trying to avoid. Lengthening games, not developing stars, hurting pitchers. It's everything that they don't want happening is a result of them. It's off the air. We've had this. I don't understand how baseball can have lockouts and all this and not achieve anything like, I don't know, not being able to defer money. That's so insane to me.
It's not a contract in the most basic sense of the word, in the way that every other team operates. So how that's allowed and how that jives with what everyone expects to have happen, which is a guy plays for you, you pay him while he's – and I understand that there have been some deferments over the years, but the Shohei Ohtani deal is just ridiculous.
Yeah. What if I sell? Then I just sign Shohei Ohtani for $10 billion.
$10 billion, yeah.
And then I'll sell the team in 3 years,
Right.
and then you pay him. Go ahead.
The difference is, and like you were saying, there have been deferred payments. Bobby Bonilla is the most
I know.
famous one.
But that's always funny that he's getting like $1 million.
But Major League Baseball could always count on the greed of the players up until now. I want my money. I want it now. Ohtani has kind of ushered in this whole new era of, okay, I've got money. I have an insane amount of money. I know it's coming to me. I can wait. So Major League Baseball players have not waited because money has been so plentiful. They always got their $30, $40, $50 million right now. So this is a relatively new problem for Major League Baseball that I'm sure, more to your point where you started, that'll be addressed at the next CBA negotiations.
And by the way, if you want baseball to succeed and you're all concerned about it, look at a map of where people are involved in high-priced free agents like Juan Soto. And again, it's like the size of like Belarus. Like it's not. You're neglecting an awful lot of the country. There a lot of the there's 32 teams. I think you'd want the 26, 28 teams not involved in these things to have some passing interest in the sport. Anyway, John Heyman.
So John Heyman goes on with Keith McPherson on WFAN on Friday night. McPherson said at the beginning, or at some point during his interview, he said, Juan Soto, you know that was going to come up. And I'm telling you this instead of listening to it because we're going to get right to Heyman's part. He said, I saw your tweet that Juan Soto might come up. Ha ha. That's the main thing. When I look at your tweets and when I look at your history, I always say, okay, this guy's part of Boris Corporation. What's the percentage of the Juan Soto contract that you're going to get when you break the news on where he signs? Okay?
Okay.
So he's having some fun with him.
Yeah, or he's being a dick, but yeah, okay. I like the guy. I mean, I like him leading in because now I'm interested.
So later on, Heyman has time to think about it, and this is what happens.
It's just like how I introduced you. Everybody in baseball knows who you are. So one, it's a credit to your work, your following, and how.
By the way, I won't be going on with you again. The whole thing has been a disaster.
That's okay.
I can't even believe you said that to question my integrity.
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being serious, yeah.
John,
asking me if I'm getting a cut because I have a relationship with an agent. That's outrageous. I know you're not a journalist. You don't know anything about this. I know you don't, but that's an outrageous comment.
It's Friday night at 8:30, John.
You should know that much.
And I'm not
done with you.
I am not taking this that serious.
Goodbye,
John. Thank you for joining us, John.
I can't even believe it.
Thank you,
I can't even believe it.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your time. He's got to get to bed. I did not expect it to go that way.
Oh my God! Why did you not? You could have gotten him really going. Oh boy! Listen to this. This is a gift from the God that this guy just let die on the vine.
And I'm not
done with you.
I am not taking this that serious.
Goodbye,
John. Thank you for joining us, John.
I can't even believe it.
Thank you,
I can't even believe it.
Yeah. Okay. Don't let him hang up.
No.
And you're talking over him. Just if he's freaking out, just be like, why wouldn't you just keep poking him then? Be like, well, why are you being so defensive? What is it true? I mean, then how do you get your information? And just get them all. If you're gonna piss them off, go all in. Don't go. I'm not taking it that seriously. It's 8:30 at night. What is that attitude? Like I'm not taking that seriously. It's 8:30 at night. All right. Well, then I'm not gonna pay you. If you're not taking it that seriously, and it's just because it's 8:30 at night, guess what? You're never going to be on. You're never going to be on a time that's not 8:30 at night.
I guess he had gone after him a little bit earlier, too. I don't know how long this entire, phone call was, but he brought up the fact that John Heyman had tweeted incorrectly that Aaron Judge was going to be a free agent after the 2022 season. And he said... And he also called him Arson Judge in that tweet. So McPherson said to Heyman, he goes, I love that you had a typo in it because that made me feel it just wasn't real itself. And obviously I know we're way past that. But I've also said it'd be awesome if you get to break the Juan Soto news because that puts that so far in the rear view. And Heyman, it sounds like maybe he's just had enough of it from either McPherson or just in general.
Well, the guy's being a dick. And so, which is great. But you and then you're surprised that he got mad? Like, if you were being a dick because you felt that way and you're like, Heyman's a joke, and you have him on and you're like, you're a joke. Look at you always screw up. You take yourself so seriously. And then he gets pissed. Now you're having an argument. You can't be a dick, and then the guy goes and go, ho, ho, well, you're mad? I'm not taking it that seriously. Well, Heyman's taking it seriously. That's what he does for a living. I'm on Heyman's side. How about that?
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because play it either way. Either go all in on being a dick, but you can't be a dick, upset him, and then act like you didn't do anything. That's you tried to upset him. Now let's have some fun. I'm not saying it's bad to upset the guy, and I'm certainly not saying it's bad to be a dick to him, but he's being a pussy. Like, he's saying all these things, and then he's hiding behind he's kidding. We all know kidding, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like when Vol and I were in the steam room. Cracked a few jokes.
That was some real man talk there.
Yeah.
Was that before or after you sat down in his moisture?
Well, it would obviously be
in his
before.
secretions.
Because after is when I really started. I waited until everyone left, and I just rolled around.
Soaked in the aura of Volan.
No, he's a nice guy. But I just think it's funny that he's in the press and I'm in the press, or the media, and then I'm in the steam room, and then comes Ben Volan. He didn't see me. I go, Ben. He goes, we'll talk after the steam's done coming out. I go, no, we'll talk now.
It's a power move.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, we're talking now, Ben.
Yeah.
All right. And this is Evan Roberts, who does a sports talk radio show on WFAN. He's good. I question his partner's motivation, Tiki Barber. It doesn't seem overly interested.
Tiki's kind of mailing it in a little bit.
It doesn't seem overly interested because he had Carton for a long time. Yeah. And Carton's a great radio personality.
Evan brings the thunder a little bit.
Well, Evan had Beningo, who's great, and then he had Carton, who's great, and now he's got Tiki Barber, who's not. So that's kind of interesting. But he's got a podcast about sports. So Evan Roberts does his afternoon show, which is about sports, and then does a separate podcast about sports.
Yep. He's got takes. He's got stuff. He's got
Doesn't
to unload.
that cheapen the 4 hours that you do every day? It's not enough of 20 hours of you a week. You got to do a podcast about the same thing. If he did a podcast about woodworking, I'd go, okay, that's great. He can't do that. I got your attention. So you see, if he did a podcast about anything else. But here's Evan Roberts hearing the Juan Soto news. He's a Jets, a Nets, and Mets fan.
I mean, I know what Tommy's going to say. Way, we got Juan Soto. It's over.
Mets are getting Soto! Martino just said it. Mets are getting Soto.
What? No. Don't F with me.
Andy Martino. Mets are getting Soto.
Yes! We got him. We got him. We got him. We got him. As soon as Tommy came on. Yes! It's going!
Now I know why he has a podcast, because he's very limited. He's very limited in his interests.
Yes!
This is a man.
We got him!
This is a man, like a grown adult.
It's over!
Yeah. Who's covered sports for decades.
He is a Met!
All right, dude.
Meet the Mets! Come on in and greet the Mets!
Well, now we all know what has to happen is the Mets can win nothing.
So
Soto!
If this is the reaction from Mets fans, now they're going to finish third in that division.
They won 89 games last year. They're going to win 89 games this year.
Yep, and they're going to finish. The Braves aren't going to get banged up, and the Phillies are better than them anyway.
Yes.
And the two of those teams are going to finish ahead of them. And they're going to be same as last year, fighting for a wild card spot at the end of the year.
But Soto's going to hit you 40 homers. Good for you.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
A free agent signing.
We got him!
And F you with your Mets have been in the World Series and won World Series. Get out of here with that.
I'm just
He is a Met!
I wonder what he did when Rogers signed with the Jets. He probably did somersaults too. Go ahead.
I'm just remembering when I was a lot younger and Dan Duquette signed Manny Ramirez to that long-term contract, which is a pretty good.
No, it was a huge signing. It was the biggest signing, I believe, of all time at the time.
I didn't approach this. When I was a kid, I didn't react this way. I was happy. Don't get me wrong. Manny was a generational hitter when they signed him. But I didn't approach this. This is crazy.
You know what the problem is that I'm a little jealous that he cares that much. I'm a little jealous that he cares that much.
It's over!
There's no one outside of my children that accomplish anything that I would be anywhere in the orbit of caring that much about. But there's people walking around like they just love stuff.
Yeah.
Like stuff they can't control or stuff that's not like they're not intimate
Good for
with.
you, Evan. Congratulations. But man,
There is that part of me that's, and I've always said that, like when we would do the sci-fi stuff and the stuff at like Star Wars things, I'm always jealous of them. Like they love Star Wars so much, and it's nothing that they can control. It's just something that happens and that they experience from afar, but yet they've so much of themselves has been put into it. It's fascinating.
Yes,
and it's jealous. I wonder if that was like a Sterling Sharp thing where he didn't know he was on the air and he was in the boudoir. Yes!
Yes!
It's like Marv Albert. Get Marv Albert in some lingerie and start whipping him.
That's a little different. Yep.
That's an old reference. All right, we'll be back and we'll finish things up with our award-winning stack segment that the kids are all talking about.
Sports Hub headline.
dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flavor.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Bill dressed up in a candy cane suit, and Jordan is standing next to him. She's got a little light bulb costume on. She's getting ready to plug him in, so to speak.
He took that. I got emailed.
Daniel Winters. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, I got an Instagram message from a guy, and I apologize. I don't look at them very often. I do appreciate everything that you guys send me. Adam, I sent you the Stephen A. Smith thing. Yeah, we got stuff.
Yep.
We got stuff. We could use that tomorrow. I just got reminded. But
Thank you.
I do appreciate when you send me things. I had a guy who sent me that a TMZ article that Bill and his young lady were at the opening, some like science museum thing that they were at, and how she dazzled in her dress, and she looked very nice, and Bill looked like an old fat guy.
I wonder if they were
who was taking a woman around and traveling her around to attend black tie affairs with him.
I wonder if they
were
were
the goal of every billionaire when they have sex with a 24-year-old
on Nantucket this weekend for the stroll, the big Christmas stroll.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yeah, well,
we've been alerted to
I'm
this.
going to go on record as saying I hate Nantucket.
Okay.
I just hate everything about it. I've been there one time in my life, and I don't like the idea of any. I don't like anything that has stroll in it. I don't believe it's that nice. I believe that everyone is there under the guise of wanting to get into some kind of. It's all because of who else lives there. I don't believe as a natural entity that Nantucket's any better than anywhere else.
Well, Felger's not going to invite you down for one of these magical mystery triple secret meetings.
I think Felger would admit to you, if you talk to him, I don't know this to be true, that he likes the aura of Nantucket and that it's not just because he's not going to pretend that he just likes being by the beach.
But he's also been going there for a really long time. Like, I think he went there and maybe either worked there or did something. So he's got, like, longevity on his side in terms of someone who's been going to Nantucket for a long time. I'm with you, Fred. I've been there once. I have I didn't hate it, but I have no desire to go back.
Do you think when the like explorers, let's say when white man came, let's say that, like not the indigenous people because they had born familiar with it, but the explorers came,
yes,
and they landed in this beautiful marsh that is Boston,
yes,
and they saw Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, the coast of Maine, the coast of they saw Newport, they saw all these places. Do you think they went, oh, Nantucket's the best? It's hard to get to. It's no different than any of the other places. Why is Nantucket so expensive? I'll tell you why. It's because some jackass bought a place for too much money, and then another jackass went, okay, I can do that too. And then it's got a bunch of stupid crap that I hate.
Well, apparently they had a power outage on Sunday during the strolls. So people who were expecting, and I feel bad for like the shopkeepers and stuff too, because this is like their big moneymaker for December. The restaurants and stuff weren't able to serve or stay open, from what I understand.
You know, Hardy is a big Nantucket fan because what's your favorite fact about Nantucket? You've said it 100 times.
There once was a man from there?
No.
Oh, the Lyme disease?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You take great joy in that.
I do. You spend enough time on Nantucket, you will get Lyme disease. And something like 50% of the year-round adult population test positive for Lyme because it's rotten with deer and they can't get rid of them. They try, but they hide in the bluffs.
And I know that the guys that live there year-round are like hardcore. I do know that. Like if you live there you live there.
Oh yeah, if you're like a year-round resident, and
yeah.
That's
I'm not talking about
than...
you. I'm talking about people that own vacation property there. I don't care for it. Move to Newport.
Several messages coming in today when we were talking about Mike Lombardi. Excuse me, earlier, and how he was going on about Bill Belichick and how awesome he is, and
if there's a program smart enough,
right, to hire him. But he also said something about
he's
Belichick.
One of the greatest secret holders of all time.
Ryan texted us. He goes, "You guys remember when the world's greatest secret keeper accidentally texted the wrong guy about having the head coaching job for the Giants?"
He thought Flores was Dayball. I remember that.
And I thought about this when I listened to it yesterday. Thank you for reminding me, Ryan. That's right. Mr. Secret Keeper, Bill Belichick, texted Brian Flores saying, "Congratulations.
Right.
I hear it's in the bag. I know we're not supposed to be talking about it, but here I am talking about it."
He's one of the greatest secret holders of all time.
But nothing negative happened out of that. Oh, yeah, it started a big lawsuit.
Against the league and other owners and everybody else.
Yeah. Oh,
well done.
Yeah, he's a big secret holder. He's a great guy. He's the best.
I also have an email here, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wanted to know about electrical basics. This is Bruza, who said he's going to Home Depot to buy a voltage tester. Can you tell me all the different types and how to use them around the house? I would say this to you: don't do it. And I have a voltage tester, and I've tried to use it a couple of times. I'm not sure how, and that is one of the things I have great respect for, and that is electricity. And whenever I'm doing something electrical, I shut way more stuff off than I have to. I shut down other rooms that might just be near the room where I'm going into. Shut it all down. I don't go messing around too much with the electricity.
I just wear rubber shoes.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah, they can't. You can't get shocked then because rubber won't conduct. The electricity won't go through it.
Here's a good question. Randy wanted to know. He said over the weekend he was at an indoor golf simulator, and I heard this from somebody else recently. Tab came at the end of the night for the food, the beer. It included the price of the simulator.
Okay.
Do you tip on the whole amount because that was what was suggested to them? Do you tip on the whole amount, or do you just kind of do your own math and figure out what you should be tipping on the food and the beverage?
Well, you're obviously taking the taxes out anyway, so you're already doing the math. Which my parents told me is what they do in Tennessee.
Oh, I think they do that a lot in retirement communities. You take the tax out, and then
I got them to stop doing that. That was a very, very quick thing for my parents. Like, my parents had been influenced a little bit by the neighbors, and I actually convinced my father a little bit as using my mother as a conduit, as you've got to stop this nonsense. Like, if you're going to go out to dinner, you can't be typical old people. You tip 20%, Dad. You're a mathematical genius. You can do it in your head. Just do it. All right, that'll do it for us as we wind down until the Christmas holiday.
Yes!
We're just days away from John longingly staring out the window, holding his junk.
when he leaves for his Christmas vacation.
It's over!
That's right.
It's over.
We'll be rid of him.
But he's
for the
actually
year.
going on vacation this year, so it's not as fun. He's actually going somewhere warm. He's not going to his in-laws in Philadelphia.
Flying south for the winter, boys.
Yeah, so you actually have something to, well, look, if you do the joke, it's not funny. You're supposed to not like it.
That's why I did it.
You don't like that we call you Bird. That's something you don't like. All right, that'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day. Bye.